Hey, welcome to another episode of the Movie Night Autopsy. My name is Sam.
I'm Chad.
I'm Asher.
And we are here once again to do some more film celebrating and cultural talking abouts. And today, we're going way, way back.
How far
And
back?
Back in the 90s.
Ooh. It's like a time trip. A mind trip and a time trip.
The only place that I could ever see this movie getting made.
Oh, yes, that is true. This movie would not be made now.
No.
Wouldn't have been made in 2008. That's for dang sure.
No. But luckily, Quentin Tarantino was a big deal. And his scripts, you know, they went somewhere, and this is where this one went. And today, I got to ask, has everybody calmed down from True Romance?
You see, I thought I calmed down. I thought I calmed down because
That's how the movie works.
We watched the movie a while ago. And I was like, yeah, True Romance. We've been watching some crazy movies. We've done Sorry to Bother You. We've done Duel. Like, I can handle it. Like, I am ready for whatever's coming up. And then I rewatched this True Romance recently. No, I have not calmed down. No, I have not calmed
You
down.
took a long time to say no.
It's oh man, it just doesn't stop.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. Every time you calm down, you just remember just the names and the cast, and you kind of start getting excited again.
And even whenever it's not like some crazy like over stylized violence happening, like the situations that are happening between the characters are just like so uncomfortable. Like just about every single one. There's a couple of cute moments because like at the end of the day it's a love story, but
Yeah, you always forget that about that movie.
yeah, it's easy to forget that
It's in the
movie,
title.
True
It's a love-
Romance.
It's the most romantic title I've ever heard.
Yeah, no, I think it actually, if you follow the music of the movie, I think it kind of really reminds you it's a love story. But when you're watching the movie, it's really hard to keep that in mind because, damn. Well, I mean, this is kind of how Grace and I met. It's this story, you know. You know how
You wanted to go see 3 Sony Chiba movies for your birthday.
If I had
you
a
run
dollar,
into a stranger.
if I had a dollar for every pimp that I had to kill so that I could start dating this girl.
Well, we are getting ahead of ourselves here, but yeah. I mean, this is the classic American love story.
Oh, man.
So
Oh, God.
I'm not sure how to segue away.
Oh,
from that.
wow.
No, well,
So,
Sam and I were talking earlier about. Say this was Sam's idea that this is kind of a hidden gem, and I think I'd agree with that. I think it kind of was eclipsed. We were talking about some of Tarantino's actual movies he was directing and making.
Pulp Fiction came out like right after it, I guess.
Boom. Reservoir Dogs was still a big deal. Jackie
Same year,
Brown.
right? Reservoir Dogs was the same year.
Reservoir
This
Dogs was
before.
91.
91. So he already got some steam going with
He had that
selling.
critical
Didn't he sell
acclaim.
the script for True Romance and the script for Natural Born Killers?
Natural Born Killers.
Like the same week or something?
He sold those to finance Reservoir Dogs.
Okay, so he sold them both at the same time. It's kind of like, this movie is kind of like if there was a box set of Tarantino and every movie was its own thing, and then there's like a bunch of discs that are like special features, things amalgamated over time. I feel like this was one of the movies that would be on one of those special features. It's like, it's Tarantino asterisk.
I mean, it still feels very Tarantino.
Totally.
Like if you watch Natural Born Killers, I really do not care for that movie.
It's a jumbled mess.
It's Oliver Stone. It's Oliver at his most Stone. Just like nobody's like pulling in the reins on that guy. Just
No.
he's throwing everything he's got at the screen, and that's what that movie is. And it feels more like a Stone movie than a Tarantino movie. This still feels like Tarantino. The dialogue still feels like Tarantino.
Yeah, I don't know what much of Tony Scott changed when he made it, but it doesn't feel like a lot.
I know he changed the ending. He filmed Tarantino's ending and he filmed his ending, and his ending does work better.
Well, I know that this illustrates this point very well. I just kind of had the movie on while I was doing work on my computer, had some paperwork, and Grace was walking in and out.
Yeah,
and
that was the last time you watched it, right?
Yeah, this is the last time I watched it. I was just kind of like refreshing my memory of what happened in the movie. Because this is the only rule we've ever still adhered to on this podcast.
Because we still adhere to this one.
Yeah, and this is because it works. This rule is really
Yeah,
good. It
it's the most
always
important
works.
rule.
Someone has to have not seen the movie. I had not seen True. I have not.
I had a nickel for every time Sam has done a Wiseau impression last year. I'd be so rich.
It was just.
I know, it was right there.
It was right there.
It's low hanging fruit.
Anywho,
The lowest. That's how I like it.
Man, you picking great. You picking pumpkins. It's
Okay.
You had a point to make, I think.
Yeah.
No, you definitely
It's all
did.
about movies. So movies are moving pictures. We have Grace was walking in and out, and she walked in at the end of the movie, and she was like, "Man, I thought this movie ended in a restaurant." Right? They were like talking.
Yeah.
They were talking in like gym shorts and t-shirts, and one of them, like, what, you know? And I was like, "You are definitely thinking of Pulp Fiction, which is total. If you're walking in and out, and you haven't seen True Romance or that often,
Yeah, it's just Tarantino enough.
yeah, it's great." But also, it's kind of this movie gets its own thing because it's really good. It's not just a Tarantino
it's
Pulp Fiction knockoff.
It still feels like a movie that was made by Tony Scott, but it feels like a movie written by Tarantino. As a matter of fact, Tarantino, because it was written by Tarantino in the early days, he wasn't a big fan of writing things in chronological order. His original script for this was not in chronological order.
Is there like word out on the streets or on the interwebs yet to say exactly how it went down?
Yeah, there's an interview with Tarantino. I forget what YouTube channel I saw it on, but
he goes into details more.
He
about
does.
it?
He does. I don't want to say exactly how it unfolds in his world just yet because that's getting ahead of ourselves.
Exactly.
We haven't even gotten into the content of
I'll
the
check
movie
it out
yet.
later.
It's a love story.
It's a love story.
It certainly is a love
Classic
story
American love
It's
story.
the best thing since the Philadelphia story.
with two very likable characters.
Yep.
You're rooting for them all the way.
I liked them more the second viewing. I got to be honest, the first viewing, you're just so frustrated by the decisions that are made.
Wait,
anyhow,
really?
we're getting ahead of myself.
Wait, you talking about the decisions that they're making, or the decisions of the cast of two people?
Specifically, the protagonists.
Oh, okay.
The two love protagonists. They make a lot of decisions that when the first time you see it, you're just like, what?
Well, my theory on that is, a theme of the movie is she's always going back to "You're so cool."
Yeah, that is a big.
There was something that he was doing, and she just looked over at him and just thought, "You're so cool," and that's what they keep going back to. And I think that's what fuels his poor decision making.
He always pulls it off. He always comes out.
He wants her to look at him and think, "You're so cool." So what do I have to do to make her look at me that way?
What are they? 17? Like, this is ridiculous.
That's kind of the decision making, but that is a theme.
You gotta
is the
think about who Clarence is. Like, Clarence is not like, I mean, come on, he's
hip. He's hip, but like in a way.
But in a way, only
Alabama is a '90s hottie, and Clarence
totally.
has never been with a '90s hottie. Like, that much is clear from that first scene that we see. Where he's going on about Elvis.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. The opening scene makes it painfully clear that when Clarence can't help but be himself. That's one of the things that's really endearing about his character. He cannot. Now he's a salesman. He can convince people to do what he wants, but he's always genuine. In fact,
works in a comic book store.
Yeah.
It's like Tarantino goes Kevin Smith.
You got to unload those 90s X titles because there was a lot of them, and they're taking up space. So you got to sell them. to people who don't need them. Yeah.
So he's a very genuine character. And that's what was my original
And
point?
I'm not a huge fan of Christian
Why are you asking
Slater
me?
in
I don't know.
general, but he did do a really good job as Clarence in this.
He's a salesman? That was your point.
I'm trying to remember going back to that love story. What I was saying is that even though he is a salesman, one of the things that is compelling about his character is that he goes into every situation very confident that if he just is true to himself and does what he thinks needs to be done, everything will work out fine. Even though any other rational human being who's watching the movie is like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Don't do that.
We'll talk about those
Don't do that.
situations in a second. Like, you really should, but he gets through most of them.
I really do feel like he wasn't that guy until he gets with Alabama. I feel like he's the more rationally thinking, like, I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. And then, like, he gets with Alabama, and that's just like, he has to keep one-upping himself as he gets deeper and deeper into this.
That sounds exhausting.
And that's the opening point of that's the point of the opening scene of the movie. He's being genuinely himself. He's going on and on about Elvis and kung fu movies. And there is a very drunken 90s hottie right next to him. And she is talking to him and kind of like chatting with him, and it's nice and pleasant, but she clearly thinks it's weird that he's talking to her about Elvis
kinda
and
like
kung
fun
fu
at first
movies.
because Elvis is so universal. and she kind of gets intrigued by him a little bit by the
Like-
time he gets to like the kung fu movies.
I love
3 of them.
Well,
Three kung fu movies.
Well, when the conversation really gets derailed is whenever he tries to be like, well, there we go. You see, we have something in common. We both fuck Elvis.
We both want to. We both would
Like,
fuck out.
that's what he goes with.
Yeah.
And then he's just
Like I said.
and then he's just like, hey, do you want to go? And hey, person,
Now that
I
we have
just
something
met,
in common,
person that I just met, would you like to go and watch 3 movies with me? Hold on.
it's not even
Hold
like
on.
yeah.
Not just 3 movies in a row.
Yeah.
But 3 foreign language kung fu movies starring someone you've never heard of.
In the
Yeah.
same series too, because it's like
Well, at least it's the
blank,
same series.
like father of the blank,
it's
sister
Street
of the
Fighter.
blank,
It's
Street Fighter, Return of Street Fighter, and
sister of Street
Sister of the
Fighter.
Street
Wait, hold on.
Fighter.
No, there's son of Street Fighter.
No, there is a
There's a sister of a Street Fighter?
of the
Sister of Street Fighter.
I'm telling you, that's
How is
what the
Sony
movie
Chiba
goes
still
with.
in Sister of the Street Fighter? Because it was a Sony Chiba marathon, and they just played those same movies.
I haven't.
That's crazy.
I am not familiar with the works of Sonny Chiba. I would. I just know that's what the movie says.
Sister of Street Fighter. 'Cause
Why
it's
is that my problem?
That's a very good
Anyway,
question.
moving on. He goes to the movies. It's his birthday, right?
He
It's
does.
His birthday?
It's his birthday. It's his birthday. She says no, it's not her cup of tea, and he just goes on to the movie.
Yeah. Movie has to happen.
Yeah. So he goes and sees it. Just sits there by himself, eating his popcorn.
He's
watching
having
the
a good
movie.
time. He's having a good
It's
time.
fine.
And
It's his
then,
birthday. He does it every
then
year.
up walks like even hotter '90s hottie,
Patricia Arquette.
Patricia
Yeah.
Arquette,
Patricia Arquette.
and positions herself relatively close to Clarence Worley, our protagonist, and forces herself into interacting with him. You know, has to break that ice.
Oh man, it's that totally.
painful. It's painful.
It's hard to watch. It's that cheesy. Oh, did I spill popcorn on you?
Oh, silly me. I'm
She's
clumsy.
wiping
I'm sorry
popcorn out
about
of his
that.
crotch, and it's
with that way too good Southern accent.
yeah. The Southern accent is just doesn't actually like exist. I've never heard anyone. I'm from the South, and I don't know if anyone.
yeah, we're
sound
in the
exactly
South.
like
We're
that.
currently in the South.
Yeah.
Well, all of the Southern accents in most productions that come out of Hollywood. I even remember back when House of Cards was really popular, and the lead
Oh,
from
yeah.
that, which we won't mention right now.
Yeah.
He had a very.
It's going to be a lot
who
of
shall
not
not
mentioning
be
names in this podcast.
Shall not be mentioned. But he was very famous for that Southern accent. I was like, I
a
get that
fake
Southern
accent.
accent, but
It's a-
that's not real.
It's
that's
an antebellum accent.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
It's
my
an
baby.
accent that
Not-
doesn't exist anymore.
That's my baby.
Yeah.
exactly.
But anyway,
So-
she's putting it on way too thick. It's totally cheesy, but it's working.
It works. It
'Cause
works.
this kid
for
doesn't
the-
know what's up.
Because like Tony Scott's directing style in this movie is so over the top that her over the topness works.
Yeah.
And speaking of over the top, it jumps into that real quick. After they, go through the date and all that, so that's the whole point.
They have a great night. They go to. He takes her to the comic store where he
Yeah.
works.
I
She's
was
interested
about
in
to get
that.
Way ahead of myself.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, they just go. They go to the movies. He takes her to the comic store where he works. They have a good time. Then they end up back at his place, and little Marvin Gaye happens, and
It's
all that.
straight up like
Yeah, straight up.
It's a '90s love scene.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly
I mean,
what
straight
happened.
out of the room, which was made in 2001.
That is the most
Like-
90s love scene
Like they
I've
put
ever
a
seen.
purple shutter over the lens.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it was great.
It's a lot of close up on hands holding other hands and gripping them tightly,
Yep.
and then pulling away in the moonlight.
Close up of the stomachs touching.
But
It's actually what it is all the lights in the background, so you can't see anything. But when their bodies move, the light comes through. It's kind of a weird reverse negative shot.
Hungry eyes. just something like that.
So they do that, and
happens.
we did a good job explaining it.
And the dialogue does
we
get
did.
the
We should
dialogue
be proud.
Good on us.
They do get along really well after the initial kind of awkwardness of
Well,
meeting at the theater.
Well, they
which
do.
Is
I
explained.
love a slice of pie.
So yeah, I mean but they do have a genuinely good exchange of dialogue.
Oh, them in the comic book store.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got
it was
good
great.
chemistry.
And then the morning after.
Same night.
Same night. Well,
It's
yeah,
like-
it's not
like an
morning.
hour
It's
later.
in the middle of the
Clarence
night. Yeah.
wakes up and she's not there, and
His
he's like,
window door thing is open
Right.
out to the balcony of the city, and it's windy and cold, and he
and
walks.
he's like, well, where'd she go? Then looks out his window, door thingy out into the cold Detroit air, and there she is, just sitting over on the Over on the side of the roof of the building.
crying.
Just she ain't having a good time.
She's bawling her eyes out after such a good night too. She just seems to be crying.
And it's a cool shot because like his bedroom window. It's above the comic book store, so their porch or whatever is basically like a giant neon sign, and she's chilling on this billboard or something.
Yeah,
it's cool as hell.
It's a really cool shot.
It's really neat.
I have no idea where it is that Clarence Worley lives, but if he's working at a comic book store in the 90s, he can't be making that much money.
It actually reminded me of the scene between Ed Norton and in Birdman in the who's the female younger lead?
Emma Stone.
Yeah, and her. Remember they were on the rooftop kind of area?
Yeah,
and they had the scene kind of reminds me of the same conversation. Except Alabama and Clarence are they are always having good chemistry. That's one of the, I mean it's called true romance, but like the scene between them is much more genuine.
But
than
yeah,
Birdman.
because we find out in this scene what actually happened that night.
Yep.
And it's a
She is a call girl hired by his boss, the comic book store owner, to give Clarence a good time.
To get laid. But she specifically says your boss said you needed to get laid.
Yeah.
So hired a call girl.
Yeah,
to come hang out with you.
That's what I meant when I said good time. But
She
anyways,
wanted her.
What are you guys talking about?
to
Sex?
have sex with him for money. You see, it wasn't about
She took the money.
Now I get it.
She took the money, and now she's going to give him the sex.
I
Yes.
couldn't figure that out with all of your nuance.
This is usually not legal unless you're filming it. So it's
But no, you see, she's not a whore. She's a call girl. She says so in the movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
she says so, and
Not
Clarence
a
is
whore.
her second customer, right?
Something like
third.
that.
Something like
yeah,
that.
it's like third. Yeah, it's
She's brand new.
Yeah, she just
She
got
sucks
to
at being a
town.
call.
Just
she's bad
got
at it.
And she broke the #1 rule. She fell in love with the client.
Oh, you never.
Oh.
that's the number one.
But she
rule.
Like her
confesses,
third
but
client.
but she confesses all of that to Clarence, and Clarence is just like, okay, well, are you going to leave that life?
And then he says he loves her too, and they do.
She's like, well, that's the thing. If I'm in a relationship, I'm 100% monogamous.
I'm only with that guy.
It's that
So
weird
they-
thing where she says monogamous, like it's supposed to be bigger deal than what
Well, it's
it
the
should
90s.
be. Was monogamy like very sincere in the 90s? Because she's just like kind of does that dramatic
Yeah.
pause beforehand. She's like, when I'm in a relationship, I'm monogamous. It's this long pause, and it's just like I don't. It's a good portrayal, and it kept me watching it. But I don't understand why like the monogamy seemed to be the clincher.
But
No,
maybe
it's
because she's a call
It-
girl.
well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she's basically saying, "I'll leave that life.
I feel
I'll stop."
honestly, I feel like it goes without saying. Like, definitely.
Oh yeah,
monogamy's
she's
a
gonna
big
bail.
deal.
Yeah.
Like she's.
But I also want to point out that they show you kind of Clarence's character because when she first tells him, you know, I'm a call girl. I was paid by your boss. Da 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 da. He's like, oh man, that was just one of the best nights I've ever had in my life. Like, I just knew there was something. But he's like smiling.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you know, I understand. It's like I kind of knew something must be up. There's
He
no way it
he
could have
still
been
had
this
a great
good.
time.
And she's like, why are you? I can't. She doesn't say cool, but she says, why are you so calm about all this? So, Alabama says, you know, why are you being? I can't remember exactly what she says, but it's like, why are you being so cool about
Stop
this?
being so cool about
Yeah.
this.
Why are you being so calm about that?
like?
You know,
It's like she was really annoyed by that because she was trying to like
She was-
pour her heart out.
Well, she's also probably expecting it just like the worst possibility at this point
Right.
because she's falling in love with him too. But she has to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's one thing that I credit this movie for is like neither of those characters had ulterior motives when it came to their dedication to each other.
No.
They just were dedicated
It's
to
just
each other.
perfectly in love
Yeah.
and imperfectly like dealing with a relationship in reality. That's basically what it is. On paper, everything looks great. Everything not on paper in real life is just like the worst thing.
The worst.
So
Guys, did you guys practice that earlier? That's pretty good. You harmonized.
You
a little
ruined
bit.
we
it.
met
You
for a
ruined
few
it.
Oh, come
hours.
on.
We
You ruined
practiced
it.
with the metronome. Anyhow, so they get married because they're in love.
Yeah, like next
And,
morning. You know how you get married the next morning?
Yeah, you know, and they, you know, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and they're married and on their way. And
I mean, if you're gonna just get married the next morning, it's best to do that because then you can just be on your way. That's.
go right back.
I thought everybody knew that.
Yeah. So An obstacle to the new marriage of the newly
Is everything.
wedded couple. Mainly
tell us,
Drexel.
married man, about the obstacle of the new marriage.
So yeah, and this exactly mirrors most new marriages. You got to get rid of the old pimp. I mean, it's kind of a rite of passage. How are you going to get rid of the pimp? Are you going to do it politically? Will you strong arm him? Or are you going to do it the Clarence way? And we're going to get to that.
You gonna use the clamps? No. I just have to say, who or what is a Drexel?
That's one of my favorite lines.
Who or what is a Drexel?
So who or what is a Drexel?
Gary motherfucking Oldman.
One of the best
Gary
characters
Oldman.
in the damn movie.
In dreadlocks.
Next
in all the
September,
film.
Mary.
Oh, that's a preview of. We'll talk more about that at some point. But next September, Mary, you keep an eye out for Gary Oldman and a special guest who we will reveal later.
Yes.
Anyway.
I wonder who it is.
Building the anticipation.
So Gary Oldman is a pimp with dreadlocks,
Oh man,
and that's Alabama's pimp.
And he's one of those guys in the '90s. If you were alive in the '90s and you knew him, like
Yeah, you knew him.
in a couple years, that guy would have been a juggalo. Like
Yeah, it's like he's proto juggalo.
hey, how you doing?
Is this when we get that?
Coming in
saying?
here talking to my bitch like.
Is this when we get this
what am I
cutaway of like Drexel doing the drug deal?
Oh, with Samuel L.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Sam Jackson in a cameo and
It's a
Having-
I wouldn't even call it a cameo.
but it's a cameo, but he's in the opening credits. That's what I
Yeah.
always thought was funny about it. But I mean, but still, like he serves his purpose. He's one of the one
Yeah.
of the guys.
They're sitting there having a not very woke conversation about eating pussy.
If anything,
No,
I would
no,
say
no, it's not
that,
eating-
that conversation was woke as fuck. That conversation was pro eating pussy in the '90s when it was still kind of a taboo.
Only I think it's only Samuel L. Jackson is the only person who's pro eating.
No,
pussy.
like literally everybody else in the room is just like, dude, you're crazy for not eating
Are
pussy.
they just convincing that one guy?
Yeah, that one guy's just like, I would never eat pussy.
Okay,
it's just
so
like,
okay.
are
So
you-
it's that
what?
one guy. It's that
and
one
from
guy.
that,
That's
and
the
from
rest
that,
of the room.
That's the rest of the room, and from that, that's Gary Oldman's
Cue.
moment to
No,
strike.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then Gary Oldman, always a master improver. He's just like, all right. Let me
Well,
break
Sam
it.
would
Let me
know.
break it down. for you. Let me break it down for you.
Hand me that shotgun. Let me
like,
use this
okay, no,
shotgun
no,
to
no.
explain how you're
Now,
wrong.
look, all right. So,
In your opinion about oral sex.
Imagine this guy here is some sexy ass bitch who you about to lay down with.
He says some really funny shit too when he's talking
It's
about
like-
that. He's like, imagine this is a fun.
It's like lines cut out of. It's like lines cut out
and
of
then
the
you,
Mac.
you.
And then that's when
Oh,
he
by
like.
the way, spoilers about this movie. Moving forward, there's gonna be a lot of them.
Yeah.
He kills everybody in the room.
Yeah,
pretty
besides
much.
him and
except
his-
for his partner.
his-
Except for
partner.
his overweight partner.
It's weird.
Including
So
Sam
so
Jackson.
so
Kill
basically,
Sam
what it
Yeah,
is it's a
shoots
drug
Sam
deal.
Jackson dead.
So it's drug deal gone bad, and basically no one expected it because they were just shooting the shit whole time.
I think that's exactly what Gary Oldman knew he was gonna do.
Oh yeah,
Or,
totally.
I'm sorry, let's just call it what he is, Drexel.
Drexel.
I'm pretty sure that he knew he was gonna do that walking in there, but
Yeah,
but
it's just I guess he was waiting for his moment, and
it's
it took that
amazing
moment.
that is the moment.
That is the moment.
Because beforehand they were all sitting literally around the same area, so he could have had. Because in the shot, he shoots the guy who's sitting on a bed, turns around, shoots another guy at a table,
Shoots Sam
then turns
Jackson.
around again and shoots another guy. He could have just had them all on the same side, but he must have really wanted that gun joke because he says something really funny.
The thing about that is cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, he's on more than cocaine.
so that's how they get all the drugs,
And that's
that
how
will
that
pay off at
happens.
some point.
And Clarence vows to Alabama that he's going to go and pay Drexel a visit to take care.
Oh, because
of,
she's got stuff over there. But he's like,
Before
yeah,
he does that, we meet Val Kilmer's character for the first time.
right before he leaves to go see Drexel.
No, because before he goes and asks for for the Drexel's address, he's
yeah,
in the bathroom.
He's in the bathroom.
And he and you see someone walking behind him who says, "Can't believe we're letting that man breathe the
top-
same air you do."
Top 3 Val Kilmer role ever.
that is up there with Tombstone.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
I actually forgot he was in the movie.
You do
For a
because
minute.
you don't see his face really.
It's,
it's
he's,
brilliant.
so,
Clearly.
he's super
Brilliant.
out of focus.
Well, soon one way you love me. I found a new place to dwell.
If you're listening right now, just know this will go on for a while. You might
Always like you, Clarence. Always have.
always weird.
Always will.
Always will.
He points. We're pointing at each other. You guys can't see it. This is a podcast.
he's
But me and Sam are
always
pointing at each other.
He's always pointing.
So So Clarence has a little bit of, would you call it a mental issue? Or,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Did they do that?
He convinces him to commit homicide many times.
I think that's the moment whenever
That's
he's
the-
just
when he
like, all
snaps?
right,
We're
I've got this. I got to hold on to this, and this is what I have to do to hold on to it. And that's just a coping mechanism that he invented to help him do it.
Yeah, it's
So
like
we
his
also-
psyche pushes him over the edge in
Yeah.
the form of
Of
talking to Elvis.
personifying his idea
His
of
idol.
Elvis
Yeah.
in his bathroom.
His
so that he
idea
can give him a
of-
pep talk.
It's like his idea of what a man should be.
Yeah.
One of his ideas, because the Kung Fu hero is the other one. They come back over and over again. He's always bringing up the hero of the Kung Fu movies and Elvis. So
Yeah.
Elvis is one.
That's
one
a
of
good
his
that's a good
ideas.
mix. I can
Yeah, no,
understand
it's
that.
it's
I'll
a
go
good
through life
mix.
like that.
That's an interesting point for what wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all right then.
Elvis also tells, but here's the reason it's not so great, because then Elvis then tells him, well, you got to go kill Drexel and everyone he's with. And a rational person might be like, okay, I've got no experience killing people, and this is like a pimp.
But
But he's got a gun.
He's got a gun.
So he just grabs
And
it.
he's Clarence.
and he's Clarence, and guys, he's in love.
He's
We all do crazy things for love, don't we? You know?
Some of us stay in relationships too long. He shoots pimps.
Oh god. So he puts on some sunglasses and a leather jacket and puts his gun under his shirt and walks out the house looking all bad after getting the address from Alabama.
Yeah, and he just wants to like finish it. He just wants to like get Drexel out of her life and get her stuff, but also just make sure that pimp doesn't come around looking for her.
So he shows up there at the house.
Knocks on the door.
Oh my God, he just straight up
Overweight
goes
guy.
up there.
Yeah.
Just walks
And
up to the
I'm
door
pretty
and
sure
knocks
there's
on
people
it.
on heroin on the doorstep.
Yep.
But he walks
Yeah,
past
90s movie.
he walks past the junkies, knocks on the door. The overweight guy answers the door. He's like, "You Drexel?" It's like brings him to the back where Drexel is, and he's sitting down there eating Chinese food and shit with chopsticks,
There's a low-hanging kind of
like
stained glass
Oriental-looking lamp thing.
Yeah,
It's like over
chandelier
the
lamp
table?
thing that's over the
It-
table.
like, he looks like he got it from like a thrift store or something like
Yeah.
that.
One of the best characters in the movie.
And
Oh
the-
man,
and
so
the
good.
lamp.
The lamp, because he uses that lamp when he tries to shine in his face and intimidate.
They
him.
use the lamp throughout the scene.
He tries really hard to kind of push Clarence.
You hungry? You want an egg roll?
Yeah, he tries really hard to push Clarence to the edge, and Clarence is having none of it.
Well, he asked him if he wants to
Have a seat-
eat.
have a seat.
Have a seat. You know,
Get you some food.
Get you some food, man. Get some food. You want some? You want some? He offers him some. I'm not sure if he offers him drugs, but he might offer some coke at some point. But
He offered him an egg roll.
yeah,
Right?
He's like, and
Because that's just
See, I
good.
already
ho-
got you
that's
figured
good.
out.
That's good hosting.
yeah. Well, Clarence
You don't
says.
give yourself away.
Clarence, he says his partner brings him up. He's like, okay, this guy says he's got word about Alabama, and
What the fuck is that bitch?
exactly.
It's the most pimp line I've ever heard. I don't mean because it's awesome.
He doesn't
It
even
sounds
know
like a
what
man
to
who
do.
manipulates women for his own financial
very
gain.
it's a
would
very
say that.
diabolical.
No,
Ooh,
like
it's
he's
rough.
like
It's
he's
evil.
like got lo mein in his fucking chopsticks, and he's like eating that shit. He doesn't even look up from it. He's like, "Where the fuck is that bitch?" Like,
fucking rough.
And Clarence is like, she's not coming back here. And I just wanted to stop by and let you know that, and I'm gonna grab her things.
and I'm gonna throw this down right here. This is this is to pay off what she owes you. This is worth my peace of mind, and this is worth every single penny.
And not a penny
Not
more.
not a penny more.
Not a penny,
Not a penny
more.
more.
And also Drexel asks him like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "I'm her husband." So he tells him, and then he laughs. The minute he says he's her husband, Drexel just laughs. That kind of like
And then the kicker.
envelope is empty.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally empty.
And he's like not even like phased by it. He's just like, oh, this motherfucker come up in my house to do this
He
shit.
must have thought it was White Boy Day.
Hey Sam, is it White Boy Day?
They don't get to that
No.
line yet.
No, it's
not.
it's
That's afterwards, 'cause he starts some shit and starts to
some
lose.
shenanigans.
Yeah, he starts shenanigans and then loses, right?
Well, like straight
Oh,
up
yeah.
after like a little while of doing that kind of thing, like that's whenever Drexel starts throwing that lamp in his face, like
Because it's swinging
and
like a bowling ball.
he's straight up, he's telling him, he's like, I've got you figured out. You came in here like all open to me, like Like you're tense as shit. I already know what your plan is. I know exactly what you want to do.
He says, if you'd sat down here and eat my food, I might think, oh, what's this guy? He's acting like he doesn't have a care in
Carrying
the
on
world.
like you don't have a
and
care in the
maybe he
world.
don't. And maybe he a bad motherfucker. He says
There's
that shit.
been titties on the screen right next to your face ever since you walked in here. You haven't looked at them once.
He's like, I know I got a pretty face, and he shines the lamp in his face.
Oh, he's got a fucked up scar.
And he's got a fucked up scar, a bad
a
grill,
bad eye.
bad dreads, like all kinds. He's not a pretty man. He's like, I know I got a pretty face, but I ain't pretty in it, and no titties.
Then a fresh set of titties.
He's like,
And then
showed me all your cards.
And then he's just like, I don't sit down because I don't want to.
And I'm pretty sure that the Mortal Kombat theme song is playing on the background of this entire scene.
It's like, I don't sit down because I'm not tired. I don't eat because I ain't hungry. And I don't look at that video because I've already seen that movie.
Yeah, he says that. I've already
It's
seen it.
back. It's like when the nerdiness triumphs. It's a good day for all of us.
But he's like, and he's like, and it's not because I'm scared of you. It's because I don't like you. He's like, I'm just coming here to clear the air, and I'm gonna leave. And then
It's intense.
And then Drexel, that's when this is what I'm thinking of. He acts like he's going to offer him drugs because he picks up, the drug plate. Like that tray that all drug lords have on their coffee table that's filled with like weed and cocaine and shit like that.
I used to have one of those when I was a drug lord.
I sold it. Garage sale.
Yeah, when I got out of the game, I had to just get rid of it. It was too many memories.
I thought I could be a drug lord, but I couldn't afford a really good drug plate to put my drugs on.
See, I repurposed
So I shifted careers to podcasting.
But I mean, if you ever are in that situation and you got to throw a drug plate in somebody's face to distract them,
It really works.
it does really work, as this movie illustrates.
All that coke was like everywhere, right?
And
everywhere?
yeah.
But this guy doesn't know that I have an entire duffel bag full of cocaine right over here.
It's just
He doesn't know, sucker.
No, he's just looking for a suitcase. He is lucky in that regard.
he's lucky in a lot of
In a lot of
let's,
regards.
let's call it
Because-
happenstance, not luck.
He spends the entire movie failing upwards.
Yeah, that's wow.
They
That's
should call
good.
that movie
That
Falling
is
Upwards.
Good. You're failing upwards.
the
That's
opposite of
really
falling
good.
down.
That's all he does.
That is exact because
And this is he failed upwards with the prostitute.
yeah.
Yeah,
Now he's
that's
failing.
a hell of a fall.
Now he's failing upwards with the prostitute's pimp.
Yeah,
Because for the next 90 seconds after they throw the drug plate at him, they proceed to whoop his ass. I mean, he gets a few shots off on Drexel.
Oh
Like
no, but he gets his ass kicked.
yeah, but he gets his
Ass
ass
kicked.
Yeah, I mean, they whoop his ass, and at the end of it, Drexel's sitting on top of him.
He's straddling him.
Yeah, he's straddling him.
straight up like power play.
Saying, "Hey, what's the name of his partner? I
That's
can't
all
remember."
that is.
He's like, "Hey, partner, you go get Alabama." He pulls out his driver's license. That's very important. He pulls out his driver's license, reads it, says, "Hey, I bet you Alabama right at the same address. You go. I'm gonna stay here with Loverboy and keep him entertained."
He starts like
Like-
pumping him and shit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
just-
and he's-
like, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna just show how dominating I am over you right now. Like,
And Clarence did
it's
get his ass whipped. So he's
difficult.
just sitting on the ground, gun still in his shoe though, or pants, wherever the hell he's
sock.
stuck.
I don't know.
I can't
I
remember.
thought he
don't
put it
know.
in his pants. He might
Is
have put
it
it in
in-
his shoe. I don't know. It's been a while. Anyways, he pulls his gun out. He's able to get to his gun.
Because Drexel gets distracted, his
Yeah.
partner's yelling something. He pulls his gun out, shoots Drexel in the penis,
In the dick.
right in the dick,
right in
the
the
dick.
dick.
point blank. Shoots
The
him in the
audience
dick.
cheers, even though we're watching this in someone's living room. The entire theater audience cheered. I heard them off in the distance.
Yes,
That was
way back from the '90s.
ooh.
Hurt him. But yeah, blows his dick off. Partner walks back in the door, shoots.
You blew past that really fast.
Shoots the partner.
There was nothing else to do.
Yeah, he shoots the partner,
Blow his dick
luckily in the head, so the partner doesn't have to live with the pain that Drexel has to live with.
But he only has to live with it for a couple of seconds.
yeah.
Open
yeah.
your eyes! Open your eyes! Oh, that was intense.
Yeah, he
Cold
makes
blooded, man. It's insane.
Cold-blooded.
And then he points his gun at a lady and
real?
says, "Go get Alabama things and put her stuff in it." And then he repeats the line louder. "Go get Alabama things and put her stuff in it."
So the stripper goes and does that.
Yeah, and she does that, and basically what she does is find what can I only assume is the closest suitcase to anything. And like her entire just said, "Just take
And
this,
then-
please, and leave."
And then in all the commotion, no, she doesn't
Right?
do that. She
doesn't
goes,
do that?
she presumably goes and puts her things into a suitcase. But Clarence, caught up in the commotion and probably like just bursting with adrenaline,
I'm sure.
just looks around, sees a briefcase, it's all closed up, assumes that's the one, grabs it, and gets the fuck out of there.
Yeah, because damn, that's a whole
it's
lot
a
of fuck
bloodbath.
to get.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot of fuck to get out
Cops
of.
are probably
Yeah.
gonna be coming soon.
Probably. But like,
Oh,
not
by
that
the
fast.
way, it was Elvis. This is I wanted to go back to this. This is a great conversation. When he's first thinking about doing this, Val Kilmer playing Elvis says, you know, how can you let that man breathe the same air as you? How can you let him walk around doing
Oh, I
that?
forgot about that.
And then
one.
Christian
Good
Slater
line.
says, oh, I'd love to go kill him, but, you know, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in jail. And then Elvis says, oh, you know, I see your point, but, you know, the hardest part's going to be the killing. You know, cops, this is a pimp. You know, they're not. And
You're
he
doing
has
their
a
job
point.
for him.
They're gonna. Yeah, he's like, you're doing their job for him. As
They're
long
just
as
gonna say, "Oh, it was a pimp and a drug dealer. It's
it's
bound to happen."
drug related. He says, as long as you're not at the scene of the crime with a smoking gun, you'll get away with it. And that's why you know this is a mental issue with him, because Elvis actually convinces him, yeah, you should go through with this.
You'll get away with
You
it.
should go through with it. You'll get away with it.
That's
Just
him
don't-
rationalizing it.
Just don't be
Don't-
there with a
don't leave
smoking
any
gun,
evidence.
and you'll get away with
But
it.
what does he do? We'll get into that in a bit.
He like pretty much
So he
like
gets the
keeps
fuck
the
out of
smoking
there.
gun,
So he gets the fuck out of there
but
with the bag
However-
that he
a
thinks
suitcase.
is filled with Alabama's clothes.
yes,
Gets back, has 2 big ass hamburgers. That's a bit of a running theme in the movie too.
just the most best fucking hamburger
they,
you've ever eaten.
they seem to really like hamburgers.
Who would have thought?
But
In
he
a
gets
Tarantino movie
back.
talking about hamburgers.
He keeps his glasses on because his face is a little fucked up. He's probably hiding that from Alabama or attempting to. He gets back
because she's
it's-
nervous. She's scared
The,
as shit.
the sun's coming up. Well, of course, he went to
Yeah.
go and confront her.
He's been
pimp,
gone all
and
night.
She knows that her pimp is dangerous.
Oh yeah.
So he gets back, and she's just like, "Oh, thank God, Clarence, you're back." And he's sitting there eating his burgers. It's like, "This is the best fucking hamburger I've ever had in my fucking life."
Oh, and he just says real quick, yeah, I killed him. This is the best fucking
Yeah, he's
hamburger
dead.
I've ever had. He just goes through it real fast.
I bet you
There's your clothes over there.
To be honest, I bet you that is the best hamburger he's ever had.
Look
Oh
good.
well, yeah. He probably knows he should be dead. He
Yeah.
should be fucking dead.
He should have been
He
dead.
should be really,
Do
really
you believe
dead.
in miracles? He should be
Ridiculous.
fucking dead, my friend.
Yeah, they're just missing that scene.
Yep.
And so Clarence eating the burger, and then Alabama once again starts crying, and he's like, "Hey, you crying? Why are you crying for that? That low life. He doesn't deserve one of your tears. He doesn't deserve one of your tears."
So
So what? So what?
So
what was it?
What the fuck do you know? This is what he's yelling at her
He's
face.
yelling
do
at her.
you fucking love him? Do
That
you
was-
fucking love
that
him?
was so romantic.
They
And
start.
we're back to the theme of the movie,
'Cause
which
it's a
is
love
love
story,
so
ladies and
dumb
gentlemen.
that you do stupid
It's a
stuff.
love story.
They in love.
Oh, not only is it a love story, but like if it hasn't become apparent yet, just like the story never stops moving and it goes so many places. This movie is I call it Quentin's Odyssey.
There's so much left to talk about too. We haven't even
It's-
gotten. We're about to get to the dad
guys,
scene.
We're about to start the
because-
second act.
and that's what I'm saying. Like this is where the movie goes full tilt into that direction.
Yeah,
because
it's really heavy.
Alabama opens up her duffel bag because it looks just like her duffel bag.
Sure.
It does. And she looks in it and she's just like, "Oh, that's not my clothes."
Because it's a whole bunch of
It's
Coke.
just
Uncut cocaine.
uncut Colombian.
Pure-
Just bags and bags in a
Cocaine.
suitcase. Just a
Suitcase
duffel
bags
bag
full of it.
filled with uncut cocaine.
And this is the 90s.
when that shit was
Like
almost as popular as it is now.
it-
No.
so this is a thing now. Like this, so this is a thing now.
And they just kind of
Yeah.
laugh about it too.
It's actually the
They're like-
movie,
they're
but
like,
they don't act like it's the movie. It's like the movie staring them in the face,
Oh,
and they're like, whatever,
Just-
movie.
Just immediately, like, okay, so not only is it just horrible to have this, because what if anybody who is rational and logical saw me with this?
I would.
Like, if I saw you with that, I'd be like,
We're not hanging out with Chad anymore.
That's
He's not invited to Taco Tuesday anymore. I'm sorry, folks.
never again. No more fellow Latin. Never
Yep.
again.
because I would just always bring it with me
Yeah.
for
And
nerve of losing it.
Because like
I don't want to be
and-
gunned down in broad daylight.
And not on yeah.
That's
but, like,
ridiculous. We mainly hang out at
But
night.
like that's just like I'm just talking about legal implications.
That
Like
too,
just
yeah.
just in terms of legal implications, you don't want to be anywhere near that. Not only that, but if you aren't supposed to have that, then that means someone is missing it, and if somebody's going to notice that much of that specific thing missing,
No, and that becomes
They're
the
gonna
theme
find
of the
it.
movie.
That's the plot, really. The movie,
That's
the
really
movie actually
plot.
starts
He took,
like right
he
here.
took that drugs, and who's missing it?
And that's where they start their odyssey.
Oh,
they
and the
are
music.
forced to leave.
The one thing about the music I want to mention from the beginning of the title credits, there's a marimba theme played, and it's just chords. It's just chords played. It's like da 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 da.
But it's so like
but it's
light.
like it's light. It's happy. It's supposed to be like romantic, and it always kind of plays in these like love moments between Clarence and Alabama, and I think it happens when they're looking at the cocaine. Just this marimba theme starts again.
That's the thing. It doesn't just happen like during typical love type moments. Sometimes it happens during really fucked up moments that do somehow bring them closer together.
Which is pretty much every moment in their love story.
Like,
And it's like this is really inappropriate music to be hearing, considering what we're looking at right now.
There's a scene where they kind of collect themselves after something awful happens, and that music plays again. Like, like it but when we get to it, I'll talk about it. But it's just like it's not what you should be doing.
Yeah,
it's just reminiscing about your 3-day long marriage when this crazy stuff happens. So like the theme is good, but and it is constant, and it's nice to understand. But it's also
eventually I get used to it and I just accept it.
Exactly, but it comes in weird places. I really think it's more like a thing of they just put it as filler. But if you have the mindset,
I feel like in a lot of ways it was inspiration for It's Always Sunny. You know what I mean?
Possibly, yeah. It does sound kind of playful.
Yeah,
They
it's a little playful.
That whimsical kind of.
But I feel like they saw it, like the filmmaker
horrible
saw it
things
more as.
happening.
I feel like the filmmaker saw it more as filler.
I disagree. I don't
Okay.
think that was the point. I think it was just like, hey, you know what's completely opposite to what we just saw happen on the screen? This music.
Can I take a third? I think I have a third stance. I think it's actually just like a character or a motif they're using throughout the movie to symbolize the love between Clarence and Alabama.
And I think that's
it just
a little bit of it too.
I think it just runs through the movie.
Yeah, but
like
do
a
they use
character.
it accurately every time? Is it appropriate?
I'd have to watch again, but I'm pretty sure it never comes in when they're yelling and about to shoot. It's always after they're like, okay, something awful just happened.
Okay, that makes sense.
comes
and we're
back
like
down to
coming
earth.
back together.
That makes sense.
Now, who wants to talk about who plays Clarence's dad?
I'll do it.
All right, yeah, because I love this portrayal.
So
You
we
mean
come.
King Koopa himself?
How dare
How
you?
dare you bring up that movie?
How dare you
in
bring
this
up the movie that
podcast?
shall not be named?
Oh man,
How dare you?
Oh, you
are
just compared the movie to wow. Okay.
You're on
Yeah.
thin ice.
How dare you?
Well, if that says anything about that movie, that's the thing is I don't think you're wrong.
No.
no.
When am I wrong?
But
Often.
anyways, tell us
Yeah.
about King Koopa.
All right, so King Koopa shows up. We have my friends, the director of one of my favorite movies, Easy Rider, and all this crazy stuff. If you saw a movie and was like, hey, what's the name of that crazy guy? It's this dude, Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper's in it.
Yep.
He shows up with his dog. He's a security guard.
Are you
He
kidding
walks
me,
to his
man?
place.
I'm Billy.
And he's crazy, man. He's like, hey, man, if you don't watch, you ain't going to have a head. Like, just crazy Dennis Hopper
Oh,
stuff.
Easy Rider.
But
have you seen Easy Rider, Asher?
Oh yes, I've seen.
Oh,
it.
who
Sorry,
hasn't
we
seen
can't
it?
Use it. Yeah,
I was just hoping.
Grace may have not seen Easy Rider.
Well,
We always
we
have
will
that fun.
find a
to
way.
talk about.
Hippie cinema finds a way.
It does.
Anyway, so he does, and so it's Dennis Hopper with his dog. He's ending his shift as a security guard. He goes to his home, which is some crappy trailer by the train tracks somewhere in Detroit. Clarence is there. Find out this is Clarence's dad. Fantastic casting as Clarence's dad, not just because of the portrayal,
man.
because I believe it.
And great,
Oh, yeah.
great casting by the train too. Every time it rolls by, I believe it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that train is so. The CGI is fantastic at this moment. The train really looks like a
just
train.
like a real train.
So Clarence is there. He tells his dad that, oh, this is my new wife, Alabama.
He didn't say anything because they don't talk.
Because they don't talk. Well, it comes out they haven't spoken in about 3
I
years.
haven't seen you in 3 years. We haven't spoken in 2 years.
And you come in here like a bulldozer, And by the way, the reason he comes to his dad is he's asking him after Alabama leaves. He asks Alabama to go buy some beer. By the way, it's like 9 a.m.
Hey.
He's like, hey,
Different people have different priorities. I don't judge that.
I'm just saying.
I mean, Clarence has had he's had a day.
And his dad just got off work, so it's his 5
17,
o'clock. I'm
So-
not going to say it's that time in a different place, but it's that time in a different place.
It turns out it sounds like Clarence's dad is an alcoholic, so he's like, no.
It makes sense.
So anyhow, Alabama goes and runs off to buy Clarence beer. And he talks to his dad, and he's like, "Hey, I need you to do me a favor for me. I
Okie dokie,
may
doggy daddy.
have just killed this
pimp.
this pimp and all
pimp
of his
drug
people.
dealer.
and his protege.
Can you go and find out if like
Sidekick
anyone
dude.
knows about that?
Because he used to be a cop, and he can talk to his buddies who are still in the force.
Right.
Yeah.
And it gives the ever so silent hint of a bit of backstory of you think Clarence's dad used to be on the force, but he's so much of an alcoholic that he got kicked off.
Right.
Yeah.
Which has to be a
They
big
do,
alcoholic.
They do a really good job of just implying character traits about his dad.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Because of this crazy cast that's all over the place.
And it trusts the audience to just like be able to put
You'll
together.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Clarence has a meaningful talk where he's like, "Hey, how can you expect me to go and talk to my police buddies? How do you expect me to go and like because he's implying you're helping me cover up
Doesn't
the
he say
murder
something that's
you
like-
committed?"
I still drink with those guys, or like the VFW or something like that.
I
Like
can't
I see him for
remember,
bowling
yeah.
on Thursdays or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Clarence says, "Hey, look, because I've never asked you for anything." He's like, "I was one of the only people that wasn't yelling at you when you were drinking all the time.
When
It was
mom walked out,
When mom walked out, I was still there, and and he said this. I've never. He looked at him. He said, "Have I ever asked you for anything?" And Dennis Hopper just was silent, kind of like looking at the ground. He's like, "Exactly. I wouldn't be asking you for this unless I really needed it, and I really need it." And that performance that he gives convinces his father. He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go."
and King Koopa.
Hey,
Concedes.
Will you stop bringing up that goddamn movie?
Not only that, not
We're
only
trying
that,
to talk about art.
Dennis Hopper is a cinema legend. You show respect. You have to at once refer to him as Dennis Sir Hopper.
So King Koopa.
Oh, you bastard! You bastard!
I don't know what you guys wanted me to do. he he sees Clarence's side because he puts up a very convincing argument.
With his
And-
son, he
and
has
this-
to, kind of in a weird way.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, and Clarence is right. Like he has been that guy. Like, it was just the right thing to do. He puts his feelers out. He determines that there's nothing really going on as far as like the police are concerned. Like
They think it's drug related,
Right.
Because the cocaine is missing.
right. They just think that it's a robbery,
Which-
and that's what happened.
Clarence never told his father. Oh yeah, and I also have a duffel bag full of uncut cocaine.
Yeah,
in the
Yeah.
car."
Didn't mention that.
Never
Nope.
mentioned it.
Didn't
Yeah,
mention it.
that's a good idea. Not to mention
But
that.
told
People who don't
him
even
that
know.
told him, and he did ask for some money, I think. Or,
Yeah,
or
it was
that
his
just part
honeymoon.
of the story.
Well, I mean, I don't know because he mentions it later in the scene of scenes.
He might have. He
gave them $500 for a.
If he's
for a
trying to
honeymoon.
make it out west, he very easily could have needed money.
Possibly, yeah.
You know, not just, but anyways, so that's how that happens, and then he agrees there's nothing going on, so he leaves, and that's whenever they decide to head out west because Clarence calls his buddy,
Oh yeah.
Actor in L.A.
the actor in L.A.
Who is trying to get jobs? That's the nicest thing I can say.
Trying real
Really hard. He's like auditioning for like
actually-
TJ Hooker, which is weird because that wasn't a show at the time.
We get to see him audition.
Oh, unless it's the new TJ Hooker.
Man, what was that guy's name?
Oh,
I'm
he's
trying to remember
he's
the
a
actor.
stand-up,
You
and he's
can-
good.
Yeah.
Dick Ritchie. Yeah,
That's it,
Michael
yeah.
Rappaport.
Michael
yeah,
Rappaport.
Dick Ritchie.
He's a stand-up, and he's really funny. He's like a proto Bill Hick. No, sorry, Bill Burr a little bit.
Yeah, a
He
little
reminds
bit.
me
I
a lot
can see
about that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
can see that. But no, we get to see him do an audition for the TJ Hooker.
It's awful.
It's just so bad. He's like, okay, yeah, I'm driving. Oh, get out! Go shoot him!
Get him! Get him! Get him off the hood of our car that we're driving in this crime.
Spoiler alert: he does get the role somehow. But anyways,
Oh yeah, that's the big
It's-
spoiler everyone's worried about.
Ruin the movie.
Does he get the
Movie
role
ruined.
in the New Adventures of TJ Hooker?
I mean, just it gives away plot points for the show.
Shocker.
But so it establishes him out in L.A. He gets the call from Clarence.
While
Says
on
he's
the toilet?
on the way.
Because you know how you answer the phone on the toilet?
Oh yeah, of course.
And
Well, I mean, like this is the '90s. Like it's like we didn't have cell phones, so it wasn't
that's
so
fair.
easy to get back to people.
I didn't know what you were going with by referencing the 90s at first.
Yeah, it was,
Was there
just
a
like,
thing in the
oh
90s
shit,
of answering phones on toilet?
oh
toilets?
shit,
Yeah.
somebody's calling me, and it might be really difficult to get a hold of whoever that is later. I better
Let me
at least see who
drag
it
the
is.
cord of the phone into this separate room
it was a
and
different
then
time.
answer it. Oh man, it's
I mean, it was like we all remember the '90s.
I think this is. I would put this in the top 5 most famous scenes in the movie. Is the phone booth scene. He
Oh, yeah.
calls his buddy. Yeah, he calls him baby. He calls his buddy. It like basically tells him, you need to go read a letter I wrote you. I can't talk about this over the phone. You need to go read this letter. He introduces him to Alabama.
Than phones.
And then while they're in the phone booth, they just start getting it on, man. They just like they go like he's just on the phone with him, and they're like, hey, look, we got to run right now. But you just read that letter, and then they just literally do it, and it's broad daylight next to a highway in probably New Mexico, I'm guessing, or something like that, like some southwestern state. And
it does kind of have that look to it, like I never thought about it, but
didn't they stop in? I think it's Nevada because they stop in like Reno or Vegas to get clothes and stuff, right?
Because from Detroit to LA, that's a drive.
That's a haul, but you only see desert, and they stop somewhere, and they got like just like the craziest clothes that they picked up and food and stuff. So I imagine it's somewhere it's kind of like kitschy, like Carson City. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yeah,
I can see that.
And I bring up the scene because it's well shot because they do it in a phone booth, and he's got her like pushed up against a wall.
Because they're in love.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's not nasty.
You know how you're in love, you have sex in a phone booth?
Like they're just so in love when they see each other. Sometimes they just have to do this.
And some of the best shots from that I feel like are on the like from the outside of the phone booth.
Yeah, it's great.
Like where you see the desert.
I don't know, man. That close up of him stepping on the phone book is
you see him stepping on the phone book so he can get
better traction.
Hey, that's a funny aside if you ask me.
Yeah.
No, that's a good shot. I think that's a damn good shot.
It is. Contextually, if you just saw it by itself. Anyways.
So they do it in a phone booth. They tell their buddy they're coming out, and they're heading on their way to the West Coast. Meanwhile, at the father's place, one of I would say.
Okay, are we there? Are we there? Are we there?
Yeah,
are we there? Are we there? Are there? Okay, this is the scene.
This is one of the two big character versus character scenes of this movie.
Absolutely,
there are two of them. Mm-hmm. This is the first one.
You're right. There are two.
This is the scene that sold me on the movie because when I was.
This is probably the most infamous scene of the movie.
I think so. When I first heard of this movie a few years back, I was working at some restaurant, and someone said they were talking about True Romance. I'm like, oh, I've never seen it. He goes, you never seen that movie? And then they just go down the list of people who's in it, and they're like, there's a bunch of people in like one or two scenes, but dude, the one scene
because it's an Odyssey.
It's an Odyssey, but the one scene is Dennis Hopper versus
Christopher Walken.
Hey.
Wow.
Oh wow!
Playing Don Vincenzo.
We just gave a vehicle for Sam to do his Walken impression. That's what the world needs.
You didn't know? This is why we watched the movie.
This is going to take a while.
We're just
gonna let it play out.
I did what I needed to do.
Okay, so Mr. Clarence, I don't know his Mr. Worley.
Let's call him Clarence Senior.
Clarence Senior. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Actually,
his name is Clifford. Cliff.
So Clarence Senior, he goes home and he gets knocked out. His dog runs off. He gets home and he gets knocked out. And he wakes up and his hands are tied.
He gets spooked.
And his hands are tied. And there are many members of the Italian mafia around him, including behind him a as yet to be discovered James Gandolfini, just playing the guy standing behind him.
And that's a lot of the people in this movie. It's like they weren't quite big names yet.
Yeah. Gary Oldman, Gandolfini, Rappaport, and
Brad Pitt later on.
Yeah, some guy named Brad.
Even Val Kilmer. I guess
Val Kilmer had done The Doors.
He had done Top Gun too, right?
And Top Gun.
He'd done Top Gun, so he was actually probably one of the. He's probably one of the bigger stars in the movie.
Christian Slater was big at the time.
And you never see his face.
And you never see his face.
But Christian Slater was big at the time,
That's why it's one of his best
Talk
performances.
about leading with your aces.
Christian Slater had done Heathers, and I'm going to throw it in there, Young Guns too. I'm sure that made a buttload of money.
I mean, a buttload of like 80s money.
Yeah, 80s money.
So like money just covered in cocaine?
Yeah, exactly.
We're saying the same thing, Asher. You don't realize it. So this scene happens, and he's trying to figure out what happens, and Chris Walken's... you find out that when Drexel took the ID out of Clarence's wallet, it fell on the ground, and it was found at the scene of the crime. But
the cops didn't find it because they didn't look hard enough.
I feel like a certain cop found it and kept it quiet until he gave it to the right people. I feel like that's what happened.
No, man, you see the Italians show up at the scene.
Yeah, I always assumed they had a cop on the payroll who found that and kept it quiet so they can help them find their coke. That's what I think happened. I don't think it's like...
I mean, that's not unreasonable, but there's nothing in the movie that points me in that direction.
No, it's just kind of my brain.
Moving on, the Italians have his ID.
They do have it.
They see who it is.
Yes.
Who probably killed Drexel and associate.
We don't know him. Like that's their thing. They like this
On
is an
White Boy Day.
unaffiliated person. Who is this person?
And it happened on White Boy Day. Because as it turns out, it was White Boy Day.
Turned out it actually was.
Who'd have
White
thought it
Boy
was
Day.
White Boy Day? That one time.
That one. You remember that one time it was
man.
White Boy Day?
Just the once.
Seriously, just that, yeah.
So they're there with Clarence Sr. tied up in the chair, and Christopher Walken starts asking him, "Hey, look, I don't want you, I don't want you to go down the road.
We all got.
Your son
Do we
wins.
all have to?
We all
if
get to
he's
do
gonna
at least
do it.
one. You might as well try while you're here."
I'll do mine later. 'Cause
Okay.
He comes in later in the scene.
So he's talking to Clarence Sr. and he's like, "Look, you know, your son stole
Cliff.
some coke from us."
Clarence Senior.
Clarence
The
Sr.
character's name is Cliff. God
So
damn it.
Clarence Sr. is talking.
And like
I just
Chris,
want the world to know his name was Cliff.
Chris Walken does like this monologue to like intimidate him because it's probably worked before.
Dude, actually, there's a seriously badass
Oh,
line.
yeah. He's like, the path of the righteous man is beset.
No. God damn it, Sam.
Why are you jumping? You're jumping
No.
too far ahead.
Sorry, there is a badass line delivered from Christopher Walken. He looks at Clarence Sr. in the face and says, "You will never have a bet." I'm going to be paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact line. But he's like, "You will be able to tell the angels in heaven today that you never saw evil more singularly personified as in the face of the man who killed you." And then he goes on to his speech. He tells him he is going to kill him at the very beginning of his speech by saying, like, when you see the angels at the pearly gates, you can say you saw the perfect personification of evil in front of you. Or like
As a matter of fact, I don't think he planned on killing him.
or maybe
But
he said like,
If maybe
you do this,
but James Gandolfini was there when we, retroactively know how gruesome that guy can be in this movie.
Yeah, because at this point,
Maybe he was going to be the one.
at this point in the scene, all you do, if this is your first time watching it, all you know is that's the guy from The Sopranos. You don't know what's going to happen in the next scene, which is ridiculous. Jumping ahead of ourselves.
But he
though.
goes on with a speech.
and he says, "Hey, look, your son basically did this, stole some coke from us, killed our boy that we were in cahoots with, and you shouldn't go down that road. So just tell us where he is, and everything will be fine."
Well, he goes about the thing about
But it'll be quick. It'll be fast.
yeah, he's just like save your time, but he does that thing of like, don't lie. I'm
Sicilian.
Sicilians are fantastic liars. I can tell my father 37 ways to tell if a man's lying. And he just goes deep in this whole thing of this like old school mob of don't you lie to me because I'll know what's going on before you even lie. And it's this craziness, and he just kind of goes on and on and on, and it's like, whoa, that guy is not someone who I want to mess with. However, once he is done, Dennis Hopper speaks.
May I? Can I?
Please do.
Can I get one of those?
Oh yeah, no. Well, they
that's
haven't
right.
gotten there yet. They haven't gotten there yet because first Clarence Sr. Sorry, I'm just gonna cut in. Clarence Sr. He tries a real straight man approach. He says, "Look, let me be honest
There
with
is
you.
that.
I haven't seen my son in 3 years. He comes in out of nowhere with this wife, saying
he's
he's
married.
married.
They're going on their honeymoon.
I gave him $500.
Wedding present.
Tell me where he was
Wedding
going.
present.
I honestly
didn't ask.
don't know where
Yeah.
they're going." And then James Gandolfini takes a knife and cuts a big slit right in through his like left
Doesn't
or right
he pour
hand.
alcohol on
Then
it
he
too?
pours bourbon
And
on
he
her.
pours bourbon on the cut hand.
It burns going down.
By the way, and before
and then
this,
then he just tosses him a rag.
well,
Clean
no,
yourself
before
up.
this too,
Clean
Christopher
yourself up.
Walken had punched Clarence Sr. in the nose. Remember, that's
Yeah,
one of
he's
the
like-
first
he
things
like-
he does.
he like holds his ring in his face. He goes, "Hey, look at that!"
Look at
and then he
this.
punches
And
him.
punches him in the face, breaks
Just
his nose.
punches Cliff in the face.
And they throw, by the way, that's why I'm bringing this up. They throw him a rag after they break his nose, and they throw him a different rag after they cut the slit in his hand. So they're always providing materials to clean up.
They're just constantly.
They are
throwing rags.
professionals. Have you learned nothing from watching the trailer for Asher? Professionals are professional.
Meta joke.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's coming
Creating
out.
our own
So-
universe.
Once
Once
the jig is up, and he knows the jig is up,
Oh, the jig
and
is so
he's
far
no
up.
longer worried about it. That's whenever
He asks for, "Hey, can I
a
get one of
cigarette.
those cigarettes?" Because he offered him in the beginning. He said, "Hey, you want one of these?" And
Can
he
I-
said, "No, I'm cool."
Can I get one?
It's like a classy
You know,
cigarette. It's not a Marlboro.
Winchester,
It's a Chesterfield.
Chesterfield.
You know, I read a lot of history books. funny thing. You say you're Sicilian? Funny thing about the Sicilians.
And then he goes about that. And you know what? Go watch the scene.
Yeah, like
You just go watch it.
Go watch the scene. It's super intense. It gets into it. None of us can repeat it. Don't want to repeat it.
Let's just say he says something to
Well, let
Christopher
me just
Walken.
That can't be taken back.
let me just say if Dennis Hopper is an egg fruit, is a grapefruit. Christopher Walken.
Ooh, don't do it. Don't do it. That's bad. Oh, that's rough. That's even
It's
that is
just
close.
it's what they say in the
But
movie.
he's convincing him something he claims it to be fact. It's pissing the Sicilians off because they're very sensitive to their own genealogy
because of the Moors.
because of the Moors. And he looks at him and goes, now,
Your
tell me,
great grandmother.
was...
So now you tell me. Am I lying?
Exactly. And then it turns around and Chris Walken is
Just laughs.
eating it up. He's been enjoying the hell out
He's
of it.
like, this guy.
He's like, the best
guy.
This guy. And then he kisses him on the cheek.
he kisses him
He
on the
loves the
cheek.
guy this much, and he goes to his boy. He turns around. He looks
like, "Hey,
back
give
at
me
him.
that."
He kind of gives him a smile, and he turns around, and he pops a few in him, and he says,
in the head.
May I?
In the head.
May-
He shoots him in the head.
shoots him at it a couple times. May I handle
Yes,
this?
you can
May
have
I?
this.
I haven't killed anybody since 1984.
Yep.
It's
Because
insane.
Christopher Walken is the guy that shoots him in the head. It is him personally. He gets blood on his very nice suit and scarf. It is like
And then there's one hitman there who's actually like a transplant. He doesn't speak English.
Hey,
he only
boss.
speaks Italian. So he's like, "Hey, what happened?" And then the other guy said, "Oh, the guy said blah blah blah." So Don Vincenzo shot him.
No, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Sounds about
Okay.
right.
They move on.
And then an unknown James Gandolfini says, "Hey, boss, prepare to be real happy."
Yeah, because the phone number of the guy
No, he
is the
wrote
phone number of the address
he actually just wrote
down
the address.
He wrote down the address
of where
the
they're going
guy,
in
of
LA,
where
and it's
Clarence
on the
was going.
fridge.
He's just
And it
sitting
was
on the fridge.
Hey, look, hey, boss. There's a plot point over here on the fridge. We're moving on.
Well, I mean, he was just trying to stall him,
Yeah,
Just give
it
him more
worked.
time to get where they were going.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked because they still at the end had the upper hand.
and that was the thing is that he said right at the very beginning, "You're dying either way."
Yeah, I mean, and he's, it was, and that's the only time we see Christopher Walken. Don Vincenzo disappears for the rest of the movie because
One
they
scene.
send other mobs.
Well, he's not going to go all the way to L.A. He's
He's
going to
got
send
people
his
for that.
lackeys to that.
But it's great to have Christopher Nolan do that vibrant of a performance in
Nolan.
one scene.
We know,
Christopher Walken do
Christopher Nolan.
Pause. It's great to see Christopher Walken do that vibrant of a performance in one scene.
Oh yeah. That scene.
That's the scene that sells the movie.
Plus
Like
he's
someone
a-
explained it, and that's kind of what gets me because it's rough and it's definitely a product of its time, but it is a crazy thing to watch. It's insane,
It's very uncomfortable.
very
It's
uncomfortable, but
very
you remember it.
uncomfortable.
It works. Your uncomfortability is not by accident.
And then after that,
And you realize that Clarence Sr. would have never, ever, ever, ever sold out his son. That's the kind of the point of the scene. He's like, I know the address is literally sitting there on the fridge, and that the minute you're done shooting me in the face, you're probably gonna find it. But
I think that the interaction that he had with his son was a big play into that because the son reminded him, it's just like, hey, did I ever judge you? Did I ever
He owes
look
it to
down on
Clarence.
you? Did I ever come to you asking for anything?
He owes it to Clarence just to stall for 10 minutes
Right.
because that's 10 minutes more than he can give him.
Yep.
That's, even though it's tiny, it's helpful, and that's him trying to be a good dad.
so
Dad of the
Hey,
year.
time is a commodity.
so Clarence is headed out to L.A. and now the Italian mob is after him because he's got their coke.
And I guess that's where so things start getting really crazy, really fast.
Crazy, really fast. It's like everything just kind of thrown at
It's,
you.
it's like right when they get to California, just stuff starts going wild. Like they talk to their homie in California to work out the deal to meet up with like the dude from the movies, the director, going home in a body bag.
Yeah, which is a big
Going
deal.
home in a body bag.
This like
And they're working on body bag too.
this like opus of a type of a Vietnam type of
And it's
thing.
and it's Donnie from Frasier.
Yeah, it's that guy. It's that guy, Donnie from Frasier, and the dude who I believe was in the Beverly Hills Cops movies.
Yep,
before
Bronson
I seen it.
Pinchot.
Bronson Pinchot, who was big to sitcoms in the 80s, and I don't remember that, so I'm moving on now.
And this is where you meet Floyd in this process.
Oh, yeah,
Who's the
yeah.
roommate of their Hollywood
And
contact.
he ain't do shit but
Well-
sit on the couch and
Well,
smoke
that's
weed.
yeah. Well, when they first come into California, and they meet up with Dick Ritchie, Michael Rappaport,
Which balls for naming a character Dick Ritchie.
Dick
Tarantino.
Ritchie.
Come on.
Oh, and he's an actor. And so they
You probably
get
met
to,
an actor like that
they
called
get
Dick
to
Ritchie.
his place and they meet his like loose or nothing roommate who needs to get it off of his ass and get a job. Floyd, played by
Some
Obscure actor.
just
Brad.
that guy from Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, that dude from Thelma and Louise. No one
I
remembers.
want to
So-
say Pad Britt.
So an up and coming Brad Pitt plays Floyd, Dick's roommate. That's even what it says on the IMDb
Yeah,
page.
and it all
It's
plays for
Floyd hyphen Dick's roommate.
it all plays for laughs. Every scene he's in, 2 or 3 of them is just like, yeah, man, because
He's
stereotype.
a
and it's funny.
90s stoner on the couch. That's who
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
That's his
That's
character.
what,
For
that's what
every
he
scene.
does.
For every scene.
Oh yeah, man. You just
papers.
They
called.
hotel.
Yeah, he's
Watch
always
it.
You guys want a bowl?
You guys want to just hang out, watch some TV?
Watch some
Watch it,
TV?
man, condescending motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'll kick your ass.
After
Kick your
James, so later
I was-
on,
yeah.
later on in the movie, James Gandolfini's character stops by, and only Floyd's there, and he's asking where the main characters are. And Floyd, after he leaves,
He's
like,
always giving away so much information to
Yeah.
people he should not be giving
oh yeah,
information to.
that's kind of the point of his
It's
character.
like if
He gives
plot
dir-
description was a person.
He gives directions
That's
a lot
exactly
in this movie. He's
Yeah.
always giving gangsters directions of where to go.
Physical
to kill
directions of how to drive to
Yeah,
a place.
man. I just like being helpful, man.
people. So that's Floyd. He's great.
That's Floyd.
So it's Dick Ritchie's roommate.
And while Dick Ritchie is trying to hook Clarence up with Bronson Pinchot,
Because he's not the guy, but he knows a guy who knows a guy.
yeah, in his character, he's Elliot.
Elliot takes acting
So-
classes.
So Elliot's trying to hook everybody up with Lee Donowitz. That's the director guy from
Donowitz.
from going home in a body bag. He's
Producer
that
of
guy.
Going Home in a Body Bag.
And that's where he comes in. He's Dick Ritchie's friend. He's trying to get Clarence is trying to win him over so that he can sell drugs to Donowitz.
And it doesn't work at first, but then he kind of gets on the phone with the guy.
They meet at the theme park.
They have
Yeah,
a meeting
yeah.
on a roller coaster.
Bronson Pinchot,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
They
Pinchot,
have
that
the
was
meeting.
a bad move. That was a bad move for Elliot.
But
he
then
was not ready for that.
gets on the phone with the guy and basically he does what the only thing Clarence knows how to do. He talks movies to the guy.
Yeah.
To sell him on to buy a suitcase of Coke. He's like, I got Dr. Zhivago and it is opening big. It is opening weekend.
It's like, yeah, I hear you, but I don't know if I can get the investors on board with such a big movie this close to award season. Or,
Yeah.
just something like
Movie
that.
talk. Movie talk.
But it's
Yeah.
great. It's great code.
Yeah.
Like it's great code. It's such a fun scene.
He's like, this is gonna be a classic. Everybody's gonna get a copy.
But he hooks Donowitz, and he gets who then tells Elliot to go forward with the deal, because what he's essentially doing is he's like, I've got
He charms him. He wins him over.
and the bottom line is he's like, I've got $500,000 of coke. I'll give it to you for $200,000. He's like, because Donowitz isn't even a dealer. It's
Yeah.
just the fact that he just does cocaine, and the people he's around do cocaine.
The Hollywood producers kind of dealers. though.
Because he can throw a full-on hedonism bot party.
Yeah.
at such a low
with that
cost. At such a
cocaine.
low cost.
I'll be downstairs replacing batteries.
I'll be bathing in the fountain of cocaine that we can afford with this party.
Pardon me by while I disgrace a pheasant.
And so that's like,
Wow,
you know,
we'll just go
that's-
back into it.
That's probably appealing.
Good call.
So you know, that's probably appealing. So
Yeah,
he's probably
totally.
going for it.
Yeah.
And Clarence straight up just charms the pants off of him and gets the meeting.
It totally works.
He's just like, put Elliot back on the phone, and it's just like, Elliot, just get the guy over here.
Yeah.
and don't call me on Sundays.
Yeah,
Because he said,
Don't
what he
use my
said-
name. Prank caller. Wait. it's wrong
Are you
version.
calling me?
Sorry.
Are you talking to me about this on a phone, Elliot?
Yeah, on a phone.
Elliot, I'm on my car phone.
Oh man, that's good stuff.
It's the car phone in the Porsche, which pays off later. The next thing with Elliot.
With the next thing with Elliot, because he's just like blaring down the fucking road,
Oh,
like
it's so awesome.
getting
it's
some
crazy.
road head.
Road head. I know what I know, and I know what I like. And what I like is
It's
roadhead.
roadhead.
We've all gotten that California roadhead driving
California-
down the mountainside.
Oh, you know in
And of
Malibu.
course he gets pulled over
Because the
He's
movie
driving
demands
like an
it.
asshole.
Well,
He's a dick.
and just like he's just got the worst luck in this movie.
No,
He
you
really
know what?
does.
No, I slightly disagree. You make a good point, but I feel like the cops pulled him over for being a dick.
And he was driving
It's well
ridiculously on the road because it even says that.
Oh yeah, he was flying down the highway.
Yeah, and this girl who's giving him roadhead is sitting in the car with him while they're waiting on the cop to come up. Roadhead. I really can't.
Man, it's weird. I don't know if
that worked.
Not every time.
Okay, just for clarity's sake, that references a video that was pre-YouTube. It was sick animation.
You
I was
young
like,
whippersnappers
God.
out there.
My year riding with Bin Laden. It was the guy in the car with Bin Laden on a road trip.
Of course.
And that's how they relate.
That's what we need to be talking about now.
Yes.
So he gets
For
pulled.
clarity.
He gets pulled over. He's got a shitload of cocaine on him. He doesn't want to get caught for
He's
it.
got a sample, but for some reason his sample is a brick in his
just like
sports
put it
jacket.
in your bra, put it in your purse. He's not gonna search you. He's gonna search
By
me.
the
I'm
way-
driving. You're not driving. Put it in. Just hide it. Just take it.
He's
no, I'm not
freaking
gonna
out.
take it.
Yep, smacks it into his face. He is covered with flour, white flour. It's probably what they used on the set of the movie.
Covered in cocaine.
He's covered in
suspension of
cocaine.
disbelief.
And then the
Covered
cop
in
walks
cocaine.
up, and she is laughing her ass off.
Yep.
Because you know why? That's pretty funny.
because cocaine's a hell of a drug.
That's pretty
And
funny.
he just looks at the cop with his face covered in coke and
Hi.
just smiles and says, hi.
Hi.
What would you say if that was exactly you?
I would just say hi.
Yeah. What else can you say?
I'd let him lead after that.
You know what? I don't always have to be the guy to make the first move.
You know what? I know what you're thinking. It's not what it looks like.
So the next scene is
I
him
would-
in the station
Not a plan.
because that's just where it goes to.
And then these cops, these like super cops come in. They're just crazy and want to bust coke addicts. and
Dude,
coke
these
dealers.
cops are
They are
from-
not super cops. They are fucking coked out, and yes, they are coked out.
It is-
You,
Yeah,
you
I
cannot
believe they're
convince
coked
me.
out.
You cannot convince me that the cops in this sequence are not coked out.
Which is
they
in
are
the-
coked
it's
out
in the s-
'90s detectives that
Yeah.
are just gunning for something because they got to have something to
They
fucking
gotta
gun
win.
for, man.
That's how they win. To be a good cop
going
is to
for it.
win.
And
Like-
one of them is Nice Guy Eddie.
Nice guy Eddie,
For
and
Reservoir
the other
Dogs,
one's
Sean Penn. Not
Sarge.
Sean Penn, Chris
The-
Penn.
Yeah, it's Chris Penn. The other one is Sarge from Saving Private Ryan. It's Tom Sizemore.
Sizemore.
It was the heyday of Sizemore.
And just like you cannot convince me that both characters are not like coked out cops in the
Oh
early
yeah,
90s.
totally.
They definitely are.
Just gunning for it.
Because they're
And-
kind of crazy.
And they catch on to the whole deal because Pinchot's willing to talk about all the shit that his boss is into.
Which is just enough to be a win. It's not
Oh,
so much
and-
that he's
oh,
a
yeah.
big
Wait,
dealer.
It's a $500,000
But-
worth of uncut
But
Colombian
it's not just.
cocaine.
I don't think
from
it's that for the
Detroit.
cops. It's not so much that he's a giant dealer. I'm sure there's bigger drug dealers. I feel like the cops are like, I want to bust a Hollywood.
No.
producer.
You guys forgot.
I mean,
no.
maybe.
That will
You
look
guys
awesome.
have
I
wouldn't
forgotten.
doubt it, but
there's a
yeah.
key point of the plot. There's a reason they're so into his story. Clarence, in his effort to bullshit his way into Elliot and into the director's good graces, they kept asking him, "Hey, you're giving us all this cocaine for such a great deal. Where did you get it? Where did you get $500,000 in coke? You're gonna let go for 200,000?" And he told them, "I know a dirty cop
I
on
know
the
a dirty
force
cop.
who stole cocaine.
Oh, that's right.
Who
He ties it back to
stole
that.
cocaine from the evidence room?"
He even says Detroit.
Yeah, in Detroit, and that's why the cops bite so hard on this story because
Oh,
they're
I
like,
forgot
because
about-
Elliot thinks
That's
it's true.
Well, that's
To
how they sell
Elliot,
it to
it's
their
true.
boss.
Yeah.
There's that scene where they sell it to their captain, and it's just like, this is a dirty cop, captain. We gotta bust this guy for the greater good, and it's bullshit.
Oh.
Yeah, because they are definitely on cocaine.
They are also fantastic salesmen.
Yep. So, and
That's
then
really what this movie's about: is salesmanship.
Oh, absolutely.
boss gives them the go ahead to put a wire on Elliot, who agrees to this. For a lead that is not true. It's something Clarence made up.
It's not true. It's just over embellished.
No, he did not get it from a dirty cop. He stole it
stole
from the
from a-
Italian
from a
mob,
pimp
who are
was
chasing
running
him
it for
at
the
this
mob,
very
and now
moment.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny?
He took their jobs.
They took a dude.
He took their jobs.
I don't even think to this point that Clarence knows that's mob coke. Until the scene with Alabama.
No, he doesn't know that it's mob coke, but he has to know that somebody's looking for it.
Somebody's looking for it, but that really
He
hits
made
home.
up a story about it.
He did. However, that really hits home with the scene with Alabama.
Yeah, because that's where we are now. Because
Ooh, boy.
James Gandolfini's
Is-
already showed up in town. He's talked to Floyd. He's looking for him.
And-
Floyd gives him the hotel.
And Clarence is off trying to sell the coke.
No, he was off to get food.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
he's
that's
getting
right.
burgers.
Yeah, he's going
Getting
down to get
burgers again.
He's got to go find the
what-
best.
Give me the biggest, baddest burger you got. And he's off doing that. Alabama's back at the hotel, just being a '90s hottie. James
90s
Gandolfini.
Is already in the room
Yep.
with a shotgun.
with a shotgun. And she just turns around and it's just like, hi. Whew. She plays a funny game, that Alabama,
She
but
just
it works.
laughs. She acts like, oh, it's not a big deal. You're
She
here.
carries
She just,
on with it. Yeah.
and she just acts like it's not a big deal, and that's she's just like Clarence. They kind of like act like it's not a big deal.
You're so cool.
You're so cool.
James Gandolfini's like, oh, you look so pretty.
Well, the first thing out of his mouth is because she turns around and sees him. She starts giggling. He kind of laughs, and after they're both done with their laughing fits, he goes, "Where's the Coke, Alabama? Where's the Coke?"
Where's the Coke?
And she says,
Where's the Coke?
"I don't know, but there's a Pepsi machine down the hall."
yeah, she's like,
Yep.
my name's Sadie,
My name's Sadie.
but there's a Pepsi machine down the hall if you're looking for.
And he's just like, "Just tell me where the Coke is." And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And she's super sweet.
And this is the second
This
scene.
is the second character.
The
beat
second
character.
character scene.
versus character.
It is brutal. A little bit different than the first scene because we have a well-established
Well-
character versus a character that is fighting for establishment.
And this one isn't a battle of wits. It's not a battle of words.
It's a battle of just sheer force.
Of just hitting the shit. It's
Although,
mainly
by
him
the
beating the
end,
shit out of
It's-
Alabama.
It's Alabama seeing how much she can take while she waits for her moment.
It's brutal.
And
He
eventually
beats
she
the
gets it.
shit out of
It's
her.
messed
He
up.
beats the shit out of
Looking
her.
for
You
the
see
Coke.
a lot of it.
And Tony Scott does not shy away from showing that.
No.
Like you see her go through this.
By the way, the
And
cocaine is
and
under
it's
the
hard
bed.
to watch.
That's
It's
the
under
thing.
the bed.
whole
As-
time.
As Tony Soprano's looking, as like
He's
beating
just
the hell out of
he's
her,
beating her up.
he wants to find the Coke. He's just like, you couldn't have possibly put it under the bed. Nobody. Who would put that under the
Can't
bed?
believe I never checked under the fucking bed. I looked all over the goddamn room, never checked under the fucking bed. How stupid am I? I never checked under the bed.
So he's like playing out the kitschiness of like the scene while beating the hell out of her, and then
And
this
he
is
open-
where
he opens
he
the-
opens up a little bit.
No,
and
he opens up the suitcase to make sure the
Yeah.
cocaine is there.
And that's
He's like,
all
I
of it.
can't believe I'm so stupid. I left this here.
He also kind of like opens up for a minute while she's just there dealing with it because he feels bad. He beats the shit out of her. He takes a break because he kind of feels bad, and he opens up to her.
before he
Talks
fin-
about his first hit,
Yeah,
right?
He says the first one's super hard.
Super hard. You vomit on the first one. Second one's easier, but the first one, that first time, that's the son of a bitch.
Yeah,
to
and he
pull
says
off.
the second one's not easy too, but he says it's a little
faster.
bit easier.
It's a little bit
than the
easier, a little bit
first one.
faster. I got sick before my first
A little
time,
bit easier every time. Then eventually you start to like it.
and then he's just like, by this point, I don't even
No,
feel
this is
anything.
exactly what he says. He's like, at this point,
I don't feel a fucking thing.
he says
Right?
this. He says this. At this point, I kill him just to see their expressions change. Just cold as, and he's looking at a lighter. He's looking at a Zippo lighter. He
he's
keeps
just
flipping
flicking
on
it.
and off. It's just like clink, click, click. He's not even looking at her. He's just looking at this flame. He's
and like
I just kill
Alabama's
him to
just
see their facial
there in
expressions
pain,
change.
just dealing with it, waiting for him to finish. He finds the Coke, acts stupid. He's like, "Well, I got the Coke, so this is it." And he tries to have like this moment to moment with Alabama, who he beat the shit out of, and he wants to like have like
But
a
she-
sweet send off.
but
Like, well,
she-
he's like, "I'm sorry, darling. We reached the end of our rope." He's being like all flirty and stuff, and she puts up.
Well, he kind of respects her because she
'Cause
took
she's got
such a
fight.
beating.
She holds up a corkscrew. She finds a
That's
corkscrew.
kind of fucked up. He kind of respects her because she took that beating and she's still kicking.
Yeah,
she's
he
not
says he
lying
got-
out cold on the floor.
He
She's
says
still
it
kicking.
like, "Oh, you got heart," but really it's like, "Oh, damn! Look at this awful thing that happened to you. You're still kicking back," because she holds up a corkscrew, right? It's like a wanky-
she's got a gun in her face
rolls
and she just holds up a
rolls
corkscrew.
with, like yielding a corkscrew like above her fucking head, and he's just like, "Oh, look at that!
You're a fighter.
And he rips his shirt. He's wearing a button-up shirt.
Oh, that's
He
right.
comes to the-
He
He's like,
gets
come
on his
stab me,
knees.
baby.
Come
Come
on,
stab me.
Come on, you get one
I'll
shot.
give you one shot.
shot.
I'll
Give
me one
give you
shot.
one
You only
shot.
got
Give me
one
what you got,
shot.
baby. Give it to me. Give it to Daddy.
love it.
Give
She
it to Daddy.
shoves that corkscrew right in his foot,
And his foot,
which he
throwing-
didn't expect.
Yes.
She just shoves that thing right down into his foot, into the ground.
And that allows her to get control of the shotgun. Mm-hmm. And
she shoots
no,
him like
before
five times.
before the shotgun, he punches her away.
it catches
No,
him off guard.
yeah, he
Catches him
punches
off guard.
No, he punches her in the face when he's trying to get the corkscrew out.
Yeah.
She finds a bottle of hairspray, grabs his
Oh, that's
lighter,
right.
and
Oh my
right
God,
as
I
he
forgot
turns
about this.
around,
He's on fire.
She sets that motherfucker on fire, and that's what spins him out of control.
That's how crazy this scene is. Someone is set on fire, and I forgot.
You forget someone was set on fire because then she
everything
finds
else
the
is so
shotgun.
intense.
Then she finds the shotgun.
And then it's like pump action shotgun, and she's just like unloading into his face.
It's like 4 or 5 times.
She
and just,
runs out of ammunition.
Yeah,
and
it
she's
beats 'em.
just like I am fucking woman screams.
she's with every shot she pulls off. It's
then she uses the butt of the gun as a club
Yeah,
and just
she does.
beats
the shit out of
fucking,
him.
The
like,
pulpy body.
of her
Oh,
kill,
God,
just standing over him,
Damn.
just-
It's so brutal. It's one
Brutal.
of the most brutal things I've ever
And
seen.
you feel so
But
happy
He
for her.
but
Good
he
for her.
deserved it, and she earned it.
Yeah,
She
it-
earned it.
It was so uncomfortable getting here, but she earned it, and he deserved it.
It symbolized violence against women and then the outcry against that. That's exactly what I thought that scene was.
If anything, it was like if you could condense Assassination Nation down to a scene. I
It's
think
that.
that's
It's
it.
that. It's even the second half of that scene, not even the whole scene. They
Yeah,
can get
that
by with,
scene is
if we go with half that scene, Assassination Nation is. It's just like, let's make a movie about that.
By the way, randomly throughout this scene, while they're fighting, it'll cut back to Clarence, who is leisurely ordering burgers. He's like taking his time ordering burgers.
He's in LA. He's got a deal coming. He wants some burgers.
Doing that to tell a random guy on the street, like who's sitting there reading an article, it's the best fucking Elvis Presley article that I've ever read.
That's the best fucking.
It's like, yeah, you brought that up earlier.
I
like,
did. I thought it was Quentin Tarantino, but I don't think it is.
I don't-
I thought it was playing a cameo when I first saw it.
I don't
but
believe
not.
it's a Quentin Tarantino cameo
I don't
because
think it
he's.
is.
I mean, I would remember that.
Here's the deal.
Like
I would remember that, but I don't believe it's a Quentin Tarantino cameo because
Didn't involve feet.
I mean,
I was
yeah, that's
gonna
a big
say.
part of it.
Okay, no, I believe it wasn't a Tarantino cameo because the character had no lines.
Oh, yeah, he
Tarantino
just
has
kinda
to be
sat
let.
there.
Well, yeah.
If Tarantino's
couple.
going to do a cameo, he's got to be let loose.
He had a couple of like lead-in lines, but yeah, like he didn't get to do an Australian accent or anything like that. So
So anyhow, Clarence gets back to Alabama, finds her where she is,
good knock, Sam.
bloodied over a pulpy corpse, and then he's like, "Okay, he's freaked out, but he's like, we got to get out of here right now because the cops are gonna obviously show up. There's shotgun shots, there's blood, fucking everywhere."
Oh, yeah.
He grabs Alabama, he grabs the
the
suitcase of
optics
coke.
here are bad.
He grabs the suitcase of coke, and they get the fuck out of there. And he's obviously pretty torn up. He's pretty torn up that this has happened to his wife. You know,
Oh, yeah.
she's almost dead. I mean,
But-
she's beaten to the.
But they have that scene though,
Where he's taking care of her.
and that's where the music comes back.
Yep, in the airport. They're
Dun, dun,
outside of an
dun, dun,
airport
dun,
on
dun,
an
dun,
So
abandoned
weird
couch.
because it's like a love theme, but everything that just happens crazy. Maybe it's more of a reminder, the music of the love between both of them.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a motive. It just shows
Yeah.
up when it
That makes
represents
sense.
just them loving each other amidst all of the insanity of the decisions they made and the lives they're living. You know,
Of Quentin's Odyssey.
so they do that. They're still gonna do the drug deal.
Oh yeah, of course. They've come all this way.
The Italian mafia shows up. You see a hotel room where they
Well,
literally you just see them loading guns for like five,
Right, the
five or
Italian
50
mob-
seconds.
Like Bronson Pinchot is the guy on the inside for the cops.
And that's like down the hall from the mobsters or something.
The
It's
mobsters
ridiculous.
are just waiting outside, just waiting to bust in the door
Plus,
to disrupt the deal because they know that's where the coke is.
plus Donowitz has 2 of his own guys.
Donovitz has like a team of people. He has 2
Who
main
have
guys.
machine
He has
guns.
two-
Who are
he has-
crazy.
He has 2
Machine
main
guns.
guys.
They are crazy.
And the blonde haired dude, with the 90s ponytail. That guy's pretty, off the rails apparently.
He's crazy. And what's weird is I can't remember the name of the. You know what? No, I think it is. I believe he was the friendly neighbor on the sitcom of I want to say the Hughley show, the Dale Hughley thing. That guy.
Wow.
That's the only
a
other
deep
reference.
cut.
That's a deep cut, and I only bring it up because that and True Romance is the only things I remember this guy from, and he's
That's a deeper cut.
completely
than you're gonna
opposite
see in Bohemian
characters.
Rhapsody.
and it was fantastic.
He's the blonde with the machine gun.
Yeah,
He yells he hates cops.
and
at
also
some
played the
pivotal
bumbly
moment
dad,
in the
friendly
scene.
neighbor. A few years later, it's crazy.
Cops.
He's the guy who gives Clarence a hard time because when they come in,
He's probably coked out too. Let's be honest.
when he comes in, Clarence it reveals they search them and they find they're like, hey, we're gonna have to pat you down, and Clarence says, hey, no need, I'll just show you, I've got this. He lifts up his shirt,
yeah, I've got
shows
this
him the
gun.
gun. He's
This
like, hey,
is
I'm
the
just
gun
gonna
that I
show you
have.
I have a gun.
Why
have
would
it.
you bring a gun deal to this? And he's like, "Cause it's a drug deal."
Why,
And he
why
says
do you
this-
have guns?
Yeah, he says that
Because
he's
we're
like
tall
the
and
same reason you
badass and
do.
on coke, so we just brought our guns.
Same reason you have guns.
And then
We all have guns.
The movie producer walks in, the director walks in, and basically Clarence
And he's
shows
just
him.
like, I like his style.
Let him keep the gun. He
This
lets him
guy,
keep the gun.
this guy's charming the pants off of me.
And
Let him
because
keep
Clarence
the gun.
pulls out the gun and they almost shoot him because he pulls out the gun. He's like, "Hey,
Like,
look,
no,
if you say I'll just leave the gun right here on the table, it's all up to you." And in the movie director's
Keep your property. It's your property. Keep it.
like, "Nah, it should be okay."
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're buddies now. Buddies doing coke deals.
And so the scene goes
Elliot's
on.
wearing
the
a
deal
wire.
Keeps going. Elliot's wearing a wire.
He's
wire.
acting all
garage.
weird and
We know
paranoid.
this. Well, he's just kind of sitting over in the corner quietly. Really.
But he also
we-
does weird things. Like he starts laughing for no reason at one point.
I
He's kind of freaked out.
hate
Yeah.
to bring up
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
I hate to bring up
He's
more.
a bad snitch.
I hate to bring up more
almost like
detail
his first
in this
time.
movie that we've already talked a
Lucky.
lot about every detail, but there's an amazing scene when it's Elliot, Alabama, and Clarence. They get in the elevator to go up to meet the producer, and Clarence knows something is wrong.
Oh yeah.
And he just takes
he
out his
he
gun.
hits the emergency
He
stop.
hits the emergency stop. He takes out his gun. And his friend is there, the acting friend. I keep forgetting.
Ritchie.
Dick Ritchie
Yeah,
and
Dick Ritchie's
Alabama
there.
and
he
Bronson
just
Pinchot.
driving. He just puts his gun.
Get him.
So he puts his gun
right in his face.
right in his face and says, "I know something is up. You tell me what's waiting
Oh,
upstairs
yeah,
for us. You tell us
yeah.
what's waiting right now, or
And-
I will
and-
blow your brains
and-
all over this elevator right now.
And
You
half
talk."
of the
this Clarence
scene.
kid. This Clarence kid. He's got balls.
Exactly,
son. He's
Yeah,
got
dude.
the
balls.
Half of the
police are
scene,
listening.
half of the scene of the cops reacting to it to be like, "This kid's crazy," as opposed to stopping a possible murder. They're like, well, "Our snitch
Oh,
sure
hold
has
on.
a tough
Hold
time
in
ahead
there.
of him."
Hold in there, Elliot. You can do this, Elliot.
Do
Come
it.
on,
Do
Elliot.
it.
At
You
one
can do
point,
this.
one of the cops is like, "Oh, he's getting shot. He's
They're,
definitely
like,
getting
seriously,
shot."
They're listening to this like it's their fantasy game.
Yeah,
like,
it's
They're like,
just listen to
at
the
one
game.
point they're like, "Ah, he's fine." They're like, "He's about to get shot."
He's about to get shot.
And instead of
He's
getting up, he
definitely about to get
listens.
shot.
He listens. He puts his hands to his ear like it's Sting and it's We Are the World. He's like, gotta like tune in to what is happening. It's ridiculous. And then Clarence
Yeah.
lets it go.
It's
like,
it's
hey,
because
man,
Elliot
I
doesn't
just
break.
I needed to
Yeah.
know that you were on the level.
No,
I just-
Elliot breaks.
No,
It's
no,
just-
he just says, "Someone
No,
come
he
save
does.
me." He says, "Someone come save
He's
me. I
like,
just
"Come
want
save
someone
me,
to come
come-
save me."
come
but it's
Save me,
vague
come help
enough.
me.
It's vague enough that
That Clarence buys it. He doesn't pick up
Yeah.
that that's what it is.
It's actually the Fed
To
should
Clarence-
come save him.
to Clarence,
you
it's
know?
just a
like, hey, I
breakdown.
just needed to know that you were okay.
So
I didn't know if you were okay. I needed to know that you're okay. So
So-
okay, I know you're okay.
Then they go.
I'm
up.
okay. You're okay.
They're getting the drug deal underway. And by the way, it's imperative to the feds who have Elliot wired. It's imperative that they hear what's the Donowitz? They hear Donowitz agree to
He
buy
has
the
to,
drugs.
yeah.
He has to agree to buy it. They can't just have them there talking about it. He has to agree.
you got to get them on tape because they'll use it in
Donowitz,
court
yeah.
later.
Otherwise, it's just possession. It's
Yeah.
not actually like dealing drugs. So one of the things that happens is that they're doing the deal, and then Donowitz turns to Clarence and says, "Hey, you know, my parents told me when I was growing up that if a deal's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Walk with me. Come walk with me. Convince me." So they walk away
They take
from
a stroll
everyone
in the courtyard.
They got to take a stroll because this is Clarence's big moment. He's got to be he's
First of all-
bullshitted his way into every situation throughout this movie. This is the ultimate.
He's failed upwards.
Yeah, he is.
He is falling upwards.
And he's already been called out once by Donovitz. Donovitz straight up looks at him and says, "I don't believe you.
Oh yeah.
You,
This was
you drink
good.
any coffee with your sugar?"
Oh yeah, because he was and he
Oh,
stopped.
yeah.
because
Can
he
we
thought
talk
he
about this? Can we talk about that for a minute? The line of when Clarence puts too much sugar in his coffee.
I mean, he puts a lot of sugar in his coffee.
It's
is
an unhealthy
way
amount.
too much.
In his words, he says, "I'm not satisfied until the spoon stands straight up."
I got a feeling that's a big influence in his decision making.
I mean,
Too
yeah.
much sugar in his blood.
We're just breaking it down
Well,
to
it's
chemistry
right around
now.
this time that they take the stroll
A stroll.
out in the courtyard because he has one because he's an L.A.
It's
movie maker.
yeah.
They're talking
When
about
you
making
when you
Body
have a
Bag
Coke
2.
deal, you got to be somewhere nice.
They're,
It's a rule.
they're talking about making Body Bag 2. And they take that stroll.
And
He
they
convinces. Oh, well, he's like, "Where'd you get this?" Right?
that he goes back
That's
to that
it.
once again. He's like, "Where did this come from?" And he brings up explicitly, "You're selling it to me at a loss. Why are you doing that?" And Clarence basically says, "Hey, look, I'm not a drug dealer. I got this from a buddy of mine I grew up with. I don't know how to make money off this. You know how to make $1 million off of this. I don't. I'm going to give it to you for 200,000. I go away a winner. My friend goes away a winner. You can make $1 million off of this. That's why I'm doing this. And Donowitz buys it hook, line, and sinker. He's like, okay, makes sense. Makes sense. You don't know where to sell this to. You brought it to me. We're going to do this deal. And he walks back into the room, and they kind of like, you know, they're obviously in like a good place or something. And
that's when the doors bust
because
open.
the cops heard him say,
the NCR floods in. General Oliver confronts you.
That's a shout out for all you Fallout fans out there.
You know what? I didn't understand the reference, and I assumed. Okay, I have to be honest. I didn't understand the reference, and my first thought is, that's probably from Fallout.
You can guess if it's Sam and me joking.
It's a good guess.
It's probably a Fallout reference. The NCR busts in with their fucking no nonsense, the man attitude.
Everybody get down! Get down! Get down! Everybody get down! But then of course the posse, like they pulled out their like, you know,
the GATs, these MAC 10s they have hidden on the sports car.
Subautomatic machine guns.
And Donowitz, who has a lot of sense in this moment, says, "What are you doing? I hired you as guards. Put your guns down. These are the cops. We are obviously done here. We are done." And the blonde-haired ponytail guys, I never told you this. I fucking hate cops.
So it's standoff.
You get off the ground. And there's a standoff between the cops.
The crazy coked out cops and the crazy coked out not cops. That's the only difference.
And the coked out movie producer is the only one making sense, saying, you should really lay down your guns.
It's the drug dealer.
These are the cops. We're done.
I have lawyers for this.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Drop it.
I have you to deal with drug dealers. I have lawyers to deal with cops.
And it's at this
know your place.
And it's at this moment that the Italian mob also busts through the door with all of their artillery going, hey, what you doing? This is a Maya Coca.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Wow. Oh, can we just a minute? Well, that's empty. Wow, Asher.
Yep, apparently Mario and Luigi were...
yeah, they busted in.
Looking for a spaghetti.
Man, how much of
just
this
me, an old Italian stereotype. I know I am. I know.
No. And they bust in. Half of them don't speak English because it's that dude from earlier who's just like, hey, what's going on? It'd be funny to have someone who doesn't speak English in the scene just so to keep the audience entertained slightly more.
We're going to turn a Mexican standoff on its head.
It's ridiculous.
With Italians.
And, like, Clarence is in the bathroom?
Yeah, talking to Elvis.
He's talking to himself.
Yeah.
Taking a leak, talking to himself. He already got the letter from Alabama that just says, you're so cool.
Yep.
Just to keep his on a cocktail napkin, doing this whole coke deal.
They don't
his
have a
loving
problem.
wife hands him a letter that just says, you're so
a love
cool.
Story.
It's a love story.
Actually a napkin. It's literally a napkin with the words,
napkin.
You're so cool written on it.
It's literally a cocktail napkin. They don't have a problem.
And then he's just in there. And
getting a pep talk.
Everything starts. And then who makes the first shot?
The thing that happens before they make the first shot is that Elliot knows the name of one of the police officers, and he says, Officer Blank.
Can I go home now? He's like, shut the fuck up, Elliot. Just sit there.
And that's what sets off
And that's
Donowitz.
when Donowitz is like, hey, how do you know this cop's name? He's like, you piece of shit. I gave you everything. I was like a father to you. And
burn
this is
your
how
SAG card. He's like,
Yeah, that's
I know
what he says.
you're my assistant, but you want to be an actor. Burn your SAG card.
burn
You're
your
never
SAG
going to work in
card
this
now.
town again.
And he goes to attack him, and then someone shoots first because...
I think a cop
And by the way, he
shoots
doesn't have a gun. Donowitz has no gun. He just goes over to like literally punch Elliot in the face or whatever. Shots
Buddy
go
gets
off.
gunned down.
Literally almost everyone gets
All
shot.
bullets
Elliot
are fired.
gets shot. Donowitz gets shot. The friend escapes. Michael Rappaport escapes. He throws the suitcase of cocaine. He throws it. The suitcase of cocaine itself gets shot.
It's just an excuse to have cocaine go everywhere.
And then
That's
some
all
guys
it is.
like
feathers, because there's feather pillows. There are
That's
feathers
exactly
flying
why.
everywhere.
He throws the coke to be like, I don't need this shit. And then some dude's like, hey, skeet shooting. And specifically aims for the briefcase of
They
coke.
just shoot the shit out of the shit.
It's like, this shootout needs to be more stylish.
That's how it works in
bag
video
of Coke.
games. If I just shoot the thing that I need, it's mine now.
And then that happens, and Clarence comes out of the bathroom, and he gets like a ricocheted or
Yeah.
something. Although we don't know. He gets a headshot.
He does get a few shots off
It's
first.
like a ricochet. Or
He
something,
shoots
'cause
like
he's
Yeah,
a
so
little
but
bit
we don't know
first,
right.
but yeah.
All we know at this point is that it's a headshot. We don't know how bad it is.
right.
He goes down.
He goes down.
Right,
Alabama.
Alabama's covering.
She's covering.
She's waiting the thing out.
She takes out a few people because she's like, what no one was expecting. She's like, I just need to kill. as
She
many people as
does
I can.
kill crazy blonde-haired '90s dude.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
everyone's getting shot.
And then that dude gets shot. He's sitting there and he's just like, call me an ambulance. I'm hurt. And one half of the coked out cops is just like, I'll call
It's
you a
Chris
hearse.
Penn.
and then shoots him.
Chris Penn.
Because Chris Penn, because he shot his partner Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
She's like, you're not going home.
Yeah. and
Oh
she-
no! And then he shoots Ponytail, and then no, Alabama shoots him
yeah,
That's where Alabama shoots
the
cop.
cop. Yeah.
because she's like, that's the guy who's talking right now with a gun. I
Yep.
need to get me and my husband out of here.
It's intense.
And then so he grabs. She grabs him.
Everybody dies. Just
Yeah,
everyone dies.
there's
And
that,
Michael
and there's that
Rappaport
moment.
gets away.
He gets away.
Luckily,
never
which is
to be
pretty-
seen
pretty
again.
Fair, the movie, yeah.
Never ever to be seen again. We don't.
He has
he's-
an
I mean,
audition the
would
next
you?
day.
I assume he's still running down hallways. I don't know what he's doing.
He's just running down,
Running down hallways,
I
just
would,
like
I would never be able to stay at a hotel ever.
Ever. And then Alabama goes up over to Clarence and she tries to like revive him because he's got this headshot. He doesn't know what's going on.
It looks
His
gnarly,
eyes
too.
all fucked
He
up.
looks fucking gnarly.
And she thinks
that
he's
one eye.
dead. And then after a minute, he comes back to life. He gets enough strength to like stand up and she carries him out
Yeah,
as
she
this
kinda has to
crazy.
carry him
She
out.
carries him out.
And he puts
as-
the sunglasses on to cover
so you can't,
up.
can't tell. And the police at
They
this
sneak
point.
past the
They're having a
police.
standoff with
With
one final
one of the
Italian
mafia guys is taking a
mobsters.
hostage.
Yeah, he's got a
It's the
gun
guy
to
who
a
can't
girl's
speak
head.
English.
Yeah. He's just shouting
Yell in
words.
Italian.
All
Okay,
Italian.
okay. Throws his shotgun.
And then,
Stands up with a
and then
handgun.
it's just more shootout while Clarence and Alabama get away. And you know what
Get the
happens?
Fuck out of Dodge.
You know what happens?
Dum, 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 dum,
That
dum,
fucking
dum,
music
dum,
comes
dum,
back.
dum,
The
dum,
marimba
dum,
music
dum,
comes
dum,
back.
dum, 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 dum.
It's good. And they drive off.
And hey, you know what the movie needs right now? Some narration and some exposition to wrap everything up.
And Alabama's
You're
voice
so
comes
cool.
in.
You're so cool.
You're so cool.
And it's just them with their money that they were able to somehow escape with,
Somehow.
And a son.
fail upwards with.
Well, they have a son later.
They have a
You
son.
see them on the because
They failed
um,
upwards with that money. That's what they did.
Clarence asked Alabama, "Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go after we get married?" And she randomly said Cancun. She was just like, "Let's go to Cancun." And you don't know if they're at Cancun because they could also be just at a beach in LA.
It looks like a West Coast
Oh
beach.
no,
I'll
they
go
got,
from
oh no,
Cancun.
they got out of town. You know
Yeah,
they
so
got out of
I-
town.
and their son is older at this point, so this is obviously years down the
I
road.
mean,
Clarence,
like Butch in Pulp Fiction, they lost their LA
Yeah.
privileges.
Straight
Yeah.
up. But they
Oh,
seem
yeah.
happy. They're on the beach. I mean, Clarence has to wear an eye patch, so his eye's fucked up, but that's whatever. That's not so bad. And they have a son named.
And that
Elvis.
that literally just means he needs a patch over his eye. It's not some sort of like Apple product that involves a. I'm just saying that because that's the time that we live in for those young whippersnappers.
We
Look.
so Clarence is running down the beach saying, "You know what we need to do? We need the new iOS update." That's what he did.
Because the last one slowed
I-
everything down. This new
I
one's supposed to
named
clean
my
all
son-
that shit up.
Max Sierra. That's my son's name.
So Elvis is the son
Elvis is the son, and everything's
of
fine.
Clarence in Alabama.
And hunky dory, and they get away, and that's credits roll.
And then the credits roll, and it's happily ever after, so to speak. It's it's a love story. It's an Odyssey. It's a fairy tale, but it's also so '90s. And so
With the way it's shot,
stylized.
with the way it's shot, a good chunk of the cast, and like the way the pacing works, super 90s.
It's like a who's who of 5 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
And
This
they
is
didn't
like,
even know.
it's crazy. It's ridiculous. Everyone did better things 5 years
Let's
later.
just go through real quick as a final thing here. Let's go through the list of the actors in this movie who were not nearly as big as they are later, either now or just a few years after the movie was released.
Okay,
Brad Pitt was not
Like
Not
Brad
big.
Pitt,
nothing.
Gary Oldman,
Gary
Oldman
Oldman
was
is
there.
Samuel L. Jackson was still on the rise.
he was on the rise.
Michael Rappaport,
Yep.
James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini
He is
was
before The
sure
Sopranos.
was not a thing yet.
Even Patricia Arquette.
Yeah,
She was on the rise. Everyone knew who Christian Slater was from a few movies.
And Val Kilmer, that was probably in the middle. He was
Wasn't
probably
he? Was he even
had
credited?
already done The Doors, and that was a big movie for
and
him.
he'd done Top Gun, and that had gotten him.
this
some
Top
would've-
Gun got it. Top Gun was like what Thelma and Louise was for Brad Pitt. That's what Top Gun was for Val Kilmer.
And the next year was Tombstone, which I don't know how well it did commercially, but I know cult wise, it's considered one of his best roles.
Yeah.
Next year.
So this movie had a very strange way of like its cast all went on to blow up.
Yeah.
And at the
next
time,
few years.
like it was like the Arrested Development
but also like
of just assembling a cast of people that were gonna be big.
but also the veterans in this movie of Chris Walken and Dennis Hopper. This was not their heyday. This was not their renaissance.
Oh no, this
Chris Walken was
just-
years before.
They found themselves in the middle of this thing happening.
Dennis Hopper, like
He's already
it was
been in
a-
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, but he kind of that was
Coppola.
even though that was Apocalypse Now, he was personally on a downfall and did a lot more. This is pre-Speed.
I mean, seriously, like Blue Velvet was kind of a comeback for Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
That's
but
true.
But I mean, like,
But-
it's got a great cast.
But
great
Chris Walken
performances
didn't do anything
all
till
around.
Chris Walken became cult known. Chris Walken around 2000.
Yeah, he was just doing
this
SNL back in the
this
day.
This was honestly like, I mean, I don't know like what role this movie has in his comeback, but I know that like Pulp Fiction played a part of it, and Pulp Fiction
That's
came
true.
out the same year.
A proto Pulp Fiction scene, because it's one scene and half of it is a monologue, so it's just straight to the point. It's almost like this scene in this movie is a warm up for a scene in Pulp Fiction,
Yeah, I could kinda
even though
see
the
that.
subject matters are totally different.
So we've now covered True Romance. Now we won't, because of the rule we have about someone not seeing the movie. We can't really cover any Tarantino movies because we've all seen them.
Until,
This is,
not until
until-
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood comes out.
We could do that if we get it out fast, and that movie's supposed to be crazy from what I hear anyway. Oh man.
No, who cares when we get it out? Just it's
Well-
just a movie. That's, anyways.
But my point was, this is the next best thing you could get. This was a Tarantino story, sold off and made into a movie in the 90s.
By
and,
Tony Scott, Ridley
with a-
Scott's brother.
Fantastic cast. Cast there.
Very,
It's a fantastic
very
cast.
Fantastic
stylized.
cast there.
He's
don't
fantastic
you know?
cast, fantastic director. I like cinematography mostly.
God damn it, both of you.
Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
so it's
it's-
coming down
I
heavy
do a
today.
thing.
It's a very stylized retelling of a Tarantino script. The script screams Tarantino, and Tony Scott doesn't take that out of the script.
It really shows how much he trusted the script.
And I mean, I gotta say, he did rearrange the script. He did do that. The original script was not in chronological order. Like it more so started with them on the run, and then you go back to seeing them meet, and then like it cuts forward to them in LA trying to sell it.
Wow,
Like,
that's
it's
a different movie.
Oh yeah. It's
That's
like
a totally
it's,
different movie.
It's a whole thing. It still starts with the Clarence wants to fuck Elvis monologue. though.
Yeah.
It still starts there. But yeah, it's
That's crazy.
The original script was a much more of a Tarantino like weird chronology type
So
thing.
you're telling me that Thomas did not stick to the script. So if we had gotten,
Well, the studio said they wanted a chronological movie.
all I'm just saying is that if we had something like Cassius Green in there, he would have stuck to the script.
You're just doing that for continuity's sake.
Yeah, just check the box.
Check the
go
box.
ahead,
Just
check
checking
the
a box. It's not even a full,
we-
well thought out. Sorry to bother your reference. You
and-
just
and
said
you know-
you
you
just
know-
said the name of the main character.
You know, earlier we were like there was the BoJack Horseman reference, the quick back in the '90s. That happened. That happened. We didn't talk about it. We didn't make a big thing of it. It just happened. We
Sam,
moved
I need
on.
you to be quiet real quick. Look, I'm going to talk to any of you out there who have not seen it. Sorry to bother you. Please go see this movie. I will not stop talking about it until most people have seen it.
You know what?
No, wait,
So,
wait. It's important. It's important.
So look at that. It looks like we've run out of time today.
Probably should have run out of time a few minutes ago.
Man, I hope so.
An hour ago. What are you talking about?
I hope we run out of time very soon.
Anyways,
Sorry to bother you is a movie by Boots
I-
Riley.
I hope that you see Sorry to Bother You. I hope that you see True Romance.
By
I
real-
hope
yeah.
that you got to the end of this. If you did, God bless you. I don't know
Bless
how you
you,
got
Aaron.
through all of it.
Doing the Lord's work.
Hoopa Joob.
Hoopa-Joob!
Thank you for listening. My name is Sam.
I'm Chad.
I'm Asher.
And this has been Movie Night Autopsy. We'll catch you next time.
What's up, crew? If you got any idea of what you would like for us to talk about on the Minute or on Movie Night Autopsy podcast, hit us up on the social medias. You can hit us up on Twitter at movie_autopsy. Check us out on Facebook at Movie Night Autopsy. Always feel free to email us, contact@movienightautopsy.com.